heroic event. All right, mics are live.
Yay. Okay, so
Get
that's
them!
awesome.
Get him! Get him! Sorry.
First thing you hear is Blue trying to do a
Hey,
public
listen,
event.
the blueberry actually managed to get him over to the other one, so I'm all for this. This blueberry is
That's
doing
fine.
a
This is
stand-up job.
fine.
He is not making the person run across the map. We are doing good. I'm going to die because I'm not on my hunter. Ah!
You can do it.
Oh, yeah,
Just
no, I
remember
just
that.
gotta
What jump
get
do you
used
have
to
on for
run away.
Warlock?
I don't fucking... The floofing one. They're all
Well,
the
they're all
same to me.
floofing. Burst Glide, or depending on which subclass you're running, Blank.
You said
Run
something and I
either of
didn't
those
really
two.
know. Sure.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to help you.
I'm the one
Orchid is
that...
here.
I have
Orchid
the
can
one...
help you.
Yeah, no, she's in... I don't know where she went. She was running around here. Oh, yep, there she is.
No, I meant she could teach you to Warlock.
Nah. I just need it for the weekly. I don't need to learn how to do it.
God.
Hey! Heroic event complete. Guess what? Still didn't get credit.
Yeah, that is kind of fucky. Orchid knows.
No, that will be... This will be my 4th completion of Howler. And still no.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that they retroactively give credit. Because... I'm going to be really annoyed if I have to go the Pyromaster and the Howler again.
Has anybody actually called that to their attention for those guys?
It's on the list. It's on the lists on the page, but I'm assuming it's just not a high priority. It's not as high priority as some of the other bugs. I'm assuming because they haven't. It's on the whatever the page that Shackle sent me to, but they haven't said anything about it, which is kind of annoying. But I'm like, look, as long as they give you time, if they're going to make us have to do it again, as long as they give us time to do it again, it's really not hugely annoying. Like, I mean,
right. Well,
the annoying thing will be
planet to go through. We have to go to Titan at some point, which I'm assuming will happen after this 3-week cycle. Maybe.
Right. Yeah. And Black
I don't
Flag,
know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't care. It takes me 2 or 3 runs to get a group together. Once you get a decent sized group, you run through these things like nothing. I have not had any problems, really, honestly, as much as I grown. This week's has been the most painful.
Just because you have to do Crucible and Menagerie.
Well, no, I mean, for the public event. This week's been the most painful because this week, if you don't understand... Oh,
wow. Thank you, Dredge and Parable.
Thanks, Dredge and Parable.
That's awesome.
It's just because the mechanics are a little bit rough on this week.
Sure.
The other weeks are the other weeks are just basically melt. This week you actually have to well, I think is it Pyromaster? No.
You had to keep away the
which one's
regenerating
the one
wizards, and then
the wizards are annoying as shit. But
they were not that bad.
They were not as bad as the stupid random bubble that it's hey, we're gonna make you immortal. It's God bless it, where'd the stupid bubble go?
Can you hear my fan in the background? I have it under my desk, so you shouldn't.
I cannot.
Yay! I can stay cool, guys. This is a first.
I got one of my I finally caved and went back to the office to get some stuff, and that was one of the things. Is I had a nicer fan at the office, and I got it, and it can run on basically silent mode. And I'm like, oh, thank God, I could have air movement during the podcast.
Oh God. Nobody else starts the contact event except for you? What do you mean, Dredge and Parable? Oh yeah, you are absolutely my fan, Vuru, but you're not able to keep me cool from Europe.
We get her hot and bothered. We don't cool her down.
The 4 screens, and the fact that I have to close my door and the AC in my house is not super powerful.
Tickle fingers.
Well then, Vuru. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to feel about that.
I do have to say that the Warlock Super, even though it feels like it's super ineffective to everything, is really fun.
Which one?
The
Tickle
Storm
Fingers?
Color, yeah, Tickle Fingers. I just like running around going tickle, 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 tickle.
They did they actually buffed it because beforehand you used to have a delay in the amount of damage that you would do right away with it, and they shortened that time period, so now you do damage more quickly.
Oh,
and
nice.
it's not good against bosses, it's great against ads. If you want to do a boss melt, use the Chaos Reach, the Kamehameha Wave. That's going to get you a lot better.
I'm terrified of that because I guarantee you I will fire that off and completely shoot it in the wrong direction and be like, well,
it's not that
shit.
It's not that hard. And you have more control over it than you think. They just like to bitch because it takes up some of their screen.
Oh, that blew up. I don't know what that was.
I still don't have Xenophage.
I apparently have 15 motes. That would be a good thing to deposit. Yeah.
Yes, it would.
Landfall. Tickle, 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 tickle.
Yeah. It's just not one of those guns that I wanted to go after. Parable. I mean, it melts in Gambit. It'll one-shot you in Gambit. Body shot one-shots. It's so good there, but I don't play enough Gambit. As someone who does miss that regularly, let me tell you, it's still visually very pleasing.
The Kamehameha Wave? Yeah. I need to... what's the Send It? Is that sniper rifles or hand cannons? Shit, I need to... Oh, no! That turned into a big nope.
I love how you were saying all of this, yet nobody understands what the fuck you're talking about because you still have the keep calm, we're starting soon screen up and they can't see your gameplay.
I don't need to see my gameplay to answer my question.
I mean...
It might help,
could enjoy...
but they don't need it.
Oh my lord.
All right. I'm also in the middle of like dodging between exploding people, so
I'm going to regret
this. You can't dodge, you're warlocking.
That is true, and I will tell you I have died so many times because of that. I'm so not used to that.
You just accidentally throw down a rift.
I don't even throw down a rift because I double tap B. I'm like, I need to reload. Tick. Oh no.
Whoopsie.
Laz, thanks for the host. Shit.
Nice. Nice.
There. Now they should be able to see me die spectacularly.
Yay! Watch him. Watch the wild blue with a grenade launcher.
Yay! Level 2.
Ignoring all the tiny ads and only going for the yellow bars.
Oh, fucker.
And almost dying. And dying.
I did die. No, I was about to say, just wait.
Nice. Finish reading Legacy Weblore, so this is going to be interesting. Yeah, I do. This is one of those ones where I really actually want to read through it in the chunks, because they do have the divider lines to kind of break it down. And I want to go through each one individually, talk about each section.
Very excited about this one.
It's important. There's a lot of fucking stuff in here. There's a lot of stuff in here.
I do appreciate the Warlock's finisher being like a slight pop on the face. It's just like, I'm gonna palm.
I'm gonna face palm you.
I just imagine it being like a very gentle bump.
Honestly, I want a finisher where it's the same thing as the Warlock finisher, but they take a finger and just boop them on the nose.
Yeah, flying. Or like...
That's what I want.
Or just like blow on them. Just like...
Like a blow a kiss and they go away. God, that would be so cool. Crimson
I actually hit that in it.
Nice.
Fuck you.
I want to message Crazy Steve and be like, dude, we need this.
Oh, that didn't work.
Do you have a auto rifle on? Or any way to get rid of...
Yeah, I thought I did on this submachine gun, but apparently I might be wrong.
Submachine guns was last season.
No,
At least
I
I'm pretty sure
have
they
the
were
boost.
last season.
I still have the boost.
Gotcha. Thought the finisher with the backflip and knife throw for the Warlock is pretty cool. I have that on my Hunter because it's sexy. The Anna backflip.
Mm.
It is my favorite finisher because you just look so cool.
Heroic.
Yay!
Landfall!
You're so excited about this. Blue is going to accidentally turn into a Warlock.
Tickle, 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 tickle.
There are... Okay. Veru,
Yeah,
I don't mind if he does.
I'm still trying to figure out what the charge with light thing does.
You know, I am not super competent at explaining it.
Every time I get it, I'm like, I get it, and I'm like, what the fuck does that do? And then it just goes away, and I'm like, okay, I must have done something because it went away. I don't know.
Black Flag, I've been running a lot of Warlock lately, too. I'm main a Warlock, so whatever finish happens to come in the rotation looks nice. Yeah, this is true.
That was...
Traders, I'm still crucibling in Hunter mode. I can't crucible in Warlock.
I main Hunter. I cannot do... Like, I can move around with the other classes. I'll say that.
I have to basically get in the right mindset to play Warlock.
Oh, whoa! Crucible. Someone resurrected me.
But even then, it's just not comfortable.
Oh,
There are mods that make weapons do more damage when charged with light. So if you have mods on your weapons that allow it to do more damage.
Way too much forethought.
Thank you, Pizza Trains.
Pizza Trains!
You're pitiful in your hunter. Pins, I tried to do my Titan earlier today, and I'm okay. I'm still better at jumping with my Titan than I am my Warlock, but I don't have the the combinations as far as the cooldown combinations down very well. I don't ever use a wall. I just turn into a gun monkey whenever I play Titan.
Ah! Yeah, apparently
Minotaurs?
I have a thing where if I break their shield, I get charged with light. Whoa!
Mm-hmm.
That was a Centurion. Okay.
Why did you pull the trigger? You blew yourself up.
I'm gonna just not gonna answer. Oh, hey! Rifle focused engram. Nice.
You can one-shot headshot with Le Monarch if you have the proper charge with light mods. Is it easy to proc in Crucible, though? I don't necessarily want a one-shot with Le Monarch in Crucible, although that would be fucking hilarious. Really? I might become even more of a troll. I was playing around with Cold Denial.
Why does my anti-barrier rounds not perk? What?
Isn't it last season?
No. Is it because this isn't? Yeah. It's because I haven't purchased them on this character. God bless it. Seriously?
Yep. There are other charge with light mods that give more energy regen. You can get a lot of damage resistance when your shield breaks. Ooh. Wait a second. How do you get it to proc on Black Flag or on Le Monarch Black Flag? It doesn't have a mod slot. I am confused. Is it on an armor piece then?
Where's my...
looking. There's a mod that makes you charge. You go on a 5 kill streak. Ooh, okay.
Why does it not have it on here? That
Sounds
doesn't make any
tired
sense.
Orbs of when you pick up Orbs of Light, Combatant Shield, finishing a combatant consuming 1/10 of your super energy.
This is
They're
really
all armor
annoying.
mods. Yeah, a lot of them do seem to take that. Some of them don't. I'm looking at one from last season that's from the 7th Seraph stuff. Defeating a combat with a 7th Seraph weapon has a chance to drop a Warmind cell. Multiple copies of this mod do not stack. Apparently, you can still use that one.
No, because like this perk. Oh, there it goes. Now it's part procking. I don't understand why.
Finishers.
Anti-barrier. I don't fucking know. All right, and what?
Dealing damage with a sword gives you
Warmind
bonus
cells
sword
can
damage.
still proc because they have the perk still present.
Do they?
Yep.
I don't know. I've not tried to use
Yep.
them.
I do it all the time on my hunter on accident, and I always get confused. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here?
You know which mod that everyone should get if they don't already have it? Powerful Friends. Because even though it gives you like a charge with light thing, the secondary perk is actually the cooler part of it because you get a plus 20 to mobility. It is amazing. It's so good.
Yeah, pull my night watch over. All right. Put you on.
Are you ready to go almost? Are you playing around?
Good. I was trying to figure out why this thing wasn't procking, and it's because apparently I don't know. It doesn't.
Submachine guns are.
Yeah, like my submachine gun. See now it's got anti-barrier rounds on it, but like for a minute it wasn't. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna pull that over too because that's.
Mutter.
Is that a? Yeah, that's better.
Warmind cells drop when you get a certain amount of kills with any Seraph weapon.
Mm-hmm. If you have.
Do they still do the amount of damage that they did back in last season?
Yeah, you could do some heavy lifting with those things.
Cool.
Okay, there we go. All right, cool. Sorry, I don't know why. So apparently, like the season artifact, because it wasn't unlocked as much as unlocked on the warlock, it wouldn't proc the mod on the submachine gun. I don't know. I figured it out.
Yay. I'm glad you figured it out.
Yeah.
Let me know when you're ready to start the recording.
Okay. Bup. I completely fucked that jump up. All right, I'm good for recording.
All right. 3, 2, 1, click.
Cool.
All right.
Okay. And I have here. You want to go ahead and start the episode?
Whenever you're ready. I don't know. Do we have anything in the show notes that's really worth it besides I think I put the actual cards in the show notes, but I don't think I put any of my extra notes in there.
I don't. I wasn't able to get into the show notes, so.
Huh.
Well,
fascinating.
No.
Okay.
Because I didn't have internet for the past week.
Gotcha. All right. No worries on that one.
So I'll look real quick. Okay, so you just put them in.
Yeah, I had just basically copy pasted.
Cool.
I'm Ishtar has them now, so it's not a big deal either way.
Awesome sauce. All right, let me get. Oh no, I'm gonna die.
If you die to Scions, I'll be very impressed. Let's see. How many of these public events do you have to do?
I don't know. I'm just running
Have you?
around getting supers and scout rifle kills for the weekly challenges right now because I don't care about
Gotcha.
anything else. I've already completed all the stuff on my hunter, so I'm just getting the twisted energy for the warlock and titan so that I can finish off the prismatic this week, hopefully.
I
get
was
as
missing
close
one.
as I possibly.
Yeah, I think you should if you were doing all three each week.
Yeah, if I have four
close.
left, so I just need to get the two. I need to get this one, and then oh my god, this one.
Headshots give you better progress in the scout rifle, FYI.
Oh, do they? Nice.
Cool. Blue immediately starts aiming.
Yep. I'll just sit there and just ping them. Like, I'll hip shot them. I don't care.
Yep. All right. So, are we starting this like a normal episode, or are we starting this?
I have the intro. Give me just a second.
Gotcha.
Let me take out this
Gotcha.
Right. Welcome to Focus Fire Chat, recorded live on. Well, let me restart that because I didn't update the date. And
6/28.
Thank you. The 20. Oh wow! Now I'm really confused because it should be the 26th and it's the 28th, and I'm
because it's Sunday.
Yeah, I know.
Because
I'm gonna totally write that because I will flub that terribly if I don't. All right. Welcome to Focus Fire Chat, recorded live on June 28th, 2020, over on twitch.tv/FocusFireChat. As always, I want to give a big shout out to our live chat here with us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us once again. This week's episodes are going to be focused around exploring the web lore entries titled Legacy. There are two of them, which is why I kind of stumbled there. This particular episode will serve as what we have come to call the intro session of the week's exploration. Before we go any further, however, let's run through a quick introduction of who we have with us on the show. As always, this is your host, Blue Crew 86.
And this is the slightly disgruntled because none of us are in Florida right now, like we should be. Because COVID.
I kind of like the air conditioning, but I understand your point.
They had good air conditioning.
They did have
just
good
had
air
to run from building to building. Like,
it's like Houston.
No, it's not. Although in some ways, now it probably is because that man. Oh my gosh, no! It's a me. It's a green. And yeah, this week would have been Guardian Con, which is kind of sad. But I had a really good little Zoom meeting with some Guardian Con friends from back in Tampa. Some of them that were like Ed, OBX boy.
Yeah, I heard that he got to jump in. That's really cool.
Yeah. And he wasn't able to go last year because his son got married. So it was fun being able to jump into chat with them and kind of see and catch up with everyone. How's your week been? How was Texas?
It was pretty good. And, we went down to visit family and my parents basically, and my son got to play around with his horse. They got him a horse for his birthday. And so he got to ride around and basically didn't get off him all week, which was to be expected. But I don't blame him. It's just like, yeah. But he had a blast, which is really all that matters. There is next to no internet at the ranch, so that was a fun experiment on trying to stay connected with everything, which I guess, in hindsight, I think it was I think that it was a pretty decent week for me to not be on the internet, from what I kind of am seeing from the after report of everything.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm convinced at this point that everybody's just gone nuclear, whether it's like their personality online, or just everybody is just after everybody, and everyone's got cabin fever.
Yeah, I
It's
think I really I don't know, but I think you might be onto something. I think it really is just the like this. I don't. It's
restriction.
weird. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I don't have any
Yeah.
clue. It has gotten very weird. I was reading about the whole thing with Twitch canceling people and or not canceling people but not really telling people about what's going on, and that's kind of an odd thing. Then like Ubisoft's executives are getting axed because of stuff.
Oh, really?
I
I
mean,
didn't know that one.
two of
Mixer
their
got axed altogether
well
and didn't tell
that anybody,
anybody.
yeah, I saw that drama and I was like, oh
Oh,
god, that was a rough thing to watch because I don't think there's really a good response to that, to be fair.
no, there isn't. With what caused it, yeah.
Well,
It's
and see, like the more I was reading it, I I don't know if that's what caused it. I will say that because
okay.
the a deal of that size doesn't just happen overnight. Like, which
Sure.
is actually worse because that I don't know. Like usually mergers or transitions like that. I mean, those usually take like months
Here's
to.
the thing though, like with the way that some people were contracted, like Ninja got paid out like
Mhm.
crazy amounts of money because of Mixer going down,
Yep.
which
I mean,
good on
it's
him for having a lawyer who can like make sure that kind of stuff is in his contract, because otherwise his platform would have just died. Like
well, and
he
I
would have
think
been in
that
a bad.
was. Oh, sorry, go for it. Yeah, I think that
No.
was the thing that a lot of people were having issues with is because I'm not sure, but I know from like the affiliate contract with Twitch, that's not that language isn't present. You know, like if Twitch
Sure.
just vanishes tomorrow, I mean, we'll be okay because we're a podcast. We
Right.
we can bounce pretty much wherever, we want. But anybody who
Sure.
streams is just kind of SOL.
Right, but
Which
that
is
was what was written into his contract
mhm.
specifically because he had gotten, well, recruited, for lack of better term, to
Right.
do Mixer. But I
Yes.
don't know. There's so many different ones that are having to scramble. I know that a friend of the show, Lady Desiree, is scrambling to get back over onto Twitch. There's a bunch of
Mhm.
them that are having to like redo their whole branding to go back towards Twitch, or to even go to Facebook. I know a few people are actually going to take that plunge and do the Facebook gaming, which um more power to them. I'm not a huge fan of it, but
Mhm.
more power to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a week, and I'm hoping they restart the simulation. Like I who was it? Somebody in chat earlier said
That's the
that
Onion
because
article. The Onion
yeah,
article is like, and 2020, we're just gonna
Ready
flip the
Eyes,
switch, restart the
Ready Eyes was just
simulation.
like, can we restart the simulation? I'm just thinking they just need a server cleaning. They need to do some updates because this is getting out of hand.
There's some server side patching that needs to happen. Stat.
Yeah, it's a thing, but
Oh
I don't know.
yeah,
I'd like
it's
to say it's
it's
gonna get better soon, but who knows? It's
I
just
yeah, I don't know. I mean, but let's talk about video games.
let's do that. Let's jump into Legacy, which holy moly, talk about a long piece of web lore, because it's two parts, Legacy
Mhm.
1 and Legacy 2. It follows Anna specifically, and we got it. What was it? Season of the Worthy.
Yep.
But I can't remember which part. It was pretty early on in the season, wasn't it?
Well, it was two parts too. So I think if I
Right.
remember right, it was actually well. I mean, they've kind of gotten to a point where they were dropping Weblore back to back. So it
Mm-hmm.
was pretty close. I can't remember the actual release date. I know Ishtar probably has it. Or they might.
Maybe
Oh
it.
no, they just
It
they
did.
just say it's. They just have it listed as the season of the worthy. It was released alongside the other portions of the Season of the Worthy Weblores. So I want to say, if I remember correctly, that was like either early or midway through. Like,
well, it does help explain some aspects with Rasputin that came into play later on in the season. So
Right.
I would imagine that this was a fairly early release. But regardless of when it was released, the information in it is kind of astounding. Some soft confirmations on some certain things and some intense confirmations on others. So for what we're doing, though, since Blue is playing, would you mind if I read the first section and then we can kind of break down the first section?
I think that's an excellent idea. And to be fair, this is something that Green has been wanting to do for a long time, ever since Legacy came out. I think she has wanted to have a episode specifically for these two entries, and I guess that's the introduction. I would say is like there is a lot that is packed into these entries, and I really, I mean, yeah, we'll probably read most, if not all of them, but I really suggest going over to Ishtar and checking them out yourselves, because as with a lot of with the lore, the second, third time you read or listen to them, you start picking up on small things. So, but yeah, I think that's what I'll introduce with.
Sounds good. These two cards are essentially the length of some of the books that we have in the archives, just to give you a heads up on how long these two entries are. And it starts with Legacy, Rust, Lucas Planum Expanse, Mars. Tectonic groans shake the surface. Apollinaris Mons has been bellowing pyroclastic clouds for 2 days before the quakes douse its ambition. They shattered the volcano's southern slope, sending the landmass shelves that supported Apollinaris caldera into freefall. Volcanic lightning forked illumination through plumes of soot over the cascading landscape. The face of Mars shed, and with it the glint of a treasured age was laid bare, grit-polished bone that hung among the alloy-flaked basalt cliffs like trophies in an iron case. Fresh Martian storms cut red into the sky. Oxidized sandscape stretches for miles around the broken mountain, bent into multiple slopes creases that had cupped Apollinaris base before their fall. Their fracturing borne spillways down the volcano's banks, as if loosed from between the fingers of fallen Ares, lost to time and waiting to be exhumed. Dunes migrate outward from the ruin, carried forward on strong zephyrs, each ever distant from the last. Under the wind-blown sands, knuckled patches of basalt are revealed like fossils carefully brushed into sunlight by the breath of Aeolus. Wind, now unfettered by stony resistance, roars across open waste, unfurls through the salt-encrusted yardings that sparsely pock the surrounding desert, and rejoins the currents. Dust and ash follow. 13 salt-form, opalescent spires encage the approach. They had ribbed inward against the caldera's deluge, soot-ash frenzy staining them of burnt bones. Within the storm, a glow refracts, a Red Sea pyre, coals still warm, a sojourner's welcome. Anna Bray traverses the newly sunken expanse, wrapped in mixed layer garb that forms a pseudo-duster and trails her frame in scruffy shawls of loose thread. Jinju glides in front of her and spins a thin light barrier to buffet away the scouring winds. She halts at the shore of the caldera. Apollinaris Mons' wide crest vies for dominance over the horizon as it presses the borders of her vision. Resonators embedded across her custom snow mask hum and disperse dirt from her visor. You were right about the storm, Jinju. It's not going anywhere. Her voice crackles through her respirator. Jinju chirps sassily and rocks side to side. Anna scoffs. Where's your sense of adventure? Jinju pointedly focuses her iris on the lengthy distance they've already traveled, then on the remaining distance and back at Anna. Yeah, it didn't look this far from the air. She shifts the bandolier of pouches over her head, 18 kelvins tight to her hip. Her augmented eyes twist and focus to the cliff face installation across the caldera. Braytech, solid and unyielding in its form. Cenotaph to the progeny of her line. Anna's hands find the snap lock on a bandolier pouch, pulls a locational tracker from it, and switches it to life. The screen pops dull resolution green, and a rhythmic ping pulsates some distance ahead. Warsat spike integrated. Distance 31,739 meters. Output 51 gigawatts. Geiger reading 67, and I don't know what those
those are microsieverts.
I did not know that. Biometric activity negative. Network uplink negative. Broadcast signal negative. Time 12:04. No hive, no cabal. Either they're stretched thin or we got here faster than I thought. Anna cycles her sulfur-stained respirator filter with a new one. Jinju cheeps excitedly at the last lack of hostiles. About time. Right? Anna looks back to the tracker. That's a lot of power, whatever you are. Jinju slowly emerges over Anna's shoulder and emits a duo of low hums. Geothermal makes sense. She nods towards the center of the caldera. Anna commits the information to memory before stowing the tracker. Good readings. Nice shot, Red. A synesthetic tone ripples marmalade hue through her helmet in response. You're welcome. And that's where I want to stop for this first section. So, where do we start? Do we start with like the basic terms of what like a caldera is, or do we want to
there's a lot of like basic terms that you could break down. I mean, like, yeah, I would say start with like the basics, especially for this particular episode, and then if we want to come back, I would say that would be a good thing to kind of come back into.
Okay. Well, a caldera is essentially a volcanic crater. And there's lots and lots and lots of these on Mars. And Apollonius Mons is another one that gets thrown out. Let's see here. Apollonius Mons. It is an ancient shield volcano in the southern hemisphere of Mars, and it's situated near the equator south of the Elysium Planitia, according to a quick search on the internet. So it's one of the larger ones, is what I remember of doing some prior research on this one. And the caldera, it seems to have at least some sort of activity going on with the way that is discussed here. Volcanic lightning forked illumination through plumes of soot over the cascading landscape. So it's a slightly active volcano according to the descriptions here. There are still aspects of it that are very much so past experiences. It talks about the sand and the dust, the volcanic dust being kind of fingered out and spread out in zephyrs, using the wind essentially to help spread that out over time. But it does seem to have some sort of activity going on right now, which, if you know Mars, is not normal. Not normal at all. But it reveals the because of the volcanic activity, it reveals this location. It reveals this building of Braytech.
Yes. And Braytech this one is an important thing because it ties into, Green had mentioned something about, some stuff gets clarified here. And this is one of the things that gets clarified in the sense of I think it's referred to as the pillory. Am I remember that correctly?
Yeah, there's a pillory that comes. The pillory is mostly in the second card of this, but
Okay,
you're
perfect.
starting to get that with this first reveal
I
at
will
the
hold my
first
comments
location.
until then.
All right. So we also get confirmation about Anna's augmentations a little bit more. If you didn't already know that her augmentations were for both eyes, they are. There's more confirmation on that one. Jinju, the way that she and Jinju interact together, Jinju appears to be a little bit more sassy of a ghost than a lot of people expected, which I find awesome.
I also like the fact that Jinju, like, it. I keep forgetting that Jinju actually does speak. Like throughout a lot of this, you don't see Jinju talk a lot. She's actually she usually communicates with beeps and like whistles, but she actually does also from time to time she will speak, which I find I like the combination there.
I do too. That and I think it's just an extension of what Rasputin does as well, because we start to get the synesthetic communication that Rasputin uses with Anna. And another confirmation that Anna's gear is augmented. It's not the same gear that we have. So her snow mask has an augmentation on it, as well as her, it doesn't necessarily specifically call out her 18 kelvins has an augmentation, but we know that her helmet at least does, because it talks about getting rid of the sand, essentially.
Her 18 kelvins does have elemental augmentations, though I'm not sure is kelvins a energy weapon.
I'm pretty sure it's under that energy banner,
Okay.
but I'd have to look in collections to double check.
Because especially the second portion, you get a lot of descriptions of the rounds being encased in arc energy.
Yep. As far as Rasputin's conversations with her, synesthesia, it makes sense to me in a lot of ways, because I don't know if necessarily if Anna understands Russian, nor if I don't also think that that Rasputin would communicate in a language per se, just solely. I think that because of his abilities to integrate in some ways with Anna, and we'll find out later, kind of sort of backpack along with Anna, even though she doesn't know he's there.
I do like that.
God, that is terrifying to me, because it makes you wonder how many people he's backpacked along with. I'm assuming it's mainly just Anna.
I would agree. I would agree with that. But the fact is that does set a precedent of him doing it.
Whether or not he does it with us as well, I don't know.
Well, and the thing is, at the end of the day, too, we do know that Rasputin has, I know everyone loves it when I say this, but has hacked our ghost. He has proxied into our ghost, basically.
Well, he proxied into Zavala's ghost, too, in Season of the Worthy. So it's not unheard of. But the synesthetic tones ripple marmalade hue. So he basically, I love how when they describe this, the writer, that they're using a lot of food or scent oriented colors, marmalade being orange, obviously, or more of kind of that orangey red that marmalade can be. But you get both the idea of the color as well as the tone. It's a musical tone. Just, it's very, very weird to wrap your head around. And if you are somebody who experiences synesthesia, that concept makes a lot more sense. I personally don't experience it, but I have friends who have, who will be at a concert and they will taste something while the concert's going on, or they will see colors while the concert is going on. It's a very weird phenomenon, in my opinion, but I don't know Blue, do you know why that happens or how that happens? Is it a
It's
neural
it's
connection thing?
yeah, I mean, my very limited understanding of this particular thing is that it is a, a synapses firing in a different method, basically. I don't want to say it's crossed wires because it really, I mean, it is, but it's not. It's not normal for obvious purposes. Like the average person doesn't experience it, but it doesn't mean that you don't like. In a lot of ways, it kind of actually enhances the experience of whatever it is that is being reviewed. It can be problematic. There can be problems. A lot of people who have it, especially people who experience it with regards to temporal, just like temporal passage. Some people I know, I think Blue Sonya actually, they have I think I was talking to them about it, and their explanation was that it's like they basically see the time, like they see time passing as an actual ribbon. I think if I remember, it's been a while since I've had this conversation, but it's
there's different variants of it too.
Yes,
it's just
there's
the concept. The
go
concept of
for it.
synesthesia is experiencing a type of stimulus through a different sense. So you have your five senses, right? Like touch, sight, smell, taste. Anyway, you have those guys. And if you are listening to something, you may see something different. Or you may taste something. It manifests in a couple different ways.
A really common one is people will say, I taste colors. So like if you, for instance, like, you see orange and you're, instead of like perceiving that visual, my understanding is that you still see it visually, but you also, your brain also triggers the memory basically of a sensation of taste. And if anything, this really is a testament to just how crazy powerful our brains are. Because you would think, like, normally it's like, oh, well, you can't taste something unless you're eating it, right? Well, no, because your brain is literally firing synaptic paths that enhance or that incur the memory of a taste, and you actually experience the taste as if you're like. And I know a lot of people in chat are like, oh, that sounds awesome. And I mean, from the outside looking in, it's very interesting. My understanding is though from the inside looking out, it is not. It is actually more often than not usually a very at minor
disorienting.
Yeah, at minor levels, it's disorienting and annoying. At higher like degrees, it can actually severely impair your experience of the world, because as like, so like I'm an especially tactile learner, so I have trouble with visual or auditory lectures in school. So school was really rough for me growing up because schools are designed for visual audio learners. They are not designed for tactile learners. So multiply that by like 100-fold, and that's what we're talking about. Is like you're experiencing a world that is designed for not your type of experiencing, but you can't help but experience it the way that you experience. Like it's not a choice. It's something that your body just literally translates the world around you into. And so like when you start seeing with Anna and Rasputin, what is actually happening is Rasputin is actually altering the brain chemistry of Anna.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, is Anna predisposed to synesthesia,
And that's
or is Rasputin triggering a synesthesia within her through manipulation of the brain chemistry, like you were suggesting.
For
like
the sake of not being terrifying, I really hope it's the former.
Yeah, there's no major explanation. Our character doesn't necessarily have that kind of communication,
With
and
Rasputin.
it would and it would explain why Anna and Rasputin can communicate so easily, and she's always there to translate. Though, Zavala and Rasputin have had their conversation during the season of the Worthy, where Rasputin takes over the ghost.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't speak directly to him. Anna's the only one that I know of who can translate what Rasputin is actually saying.
True. Now, that being said, we do know that ghosts do have ability to speak telepathically with their guardians. So, I mean, and there is the throwaway line from Cade's stash mission that does mention syncing up with the guardian, the ghost and the guardian syncing up mentally.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, it sounds really cool as like a throwaway kind of comment, but then you start thinking about the implications and it's like, wait, hang on. If you can do that, you know, there's a lot of other things that you can do when you start messing with neural pathways and, you know, all that.
Sure.
Like, there's some really dark stuff that can occur that way.
There is a few call outs in chat. Vuru calls out that play on synesthesia with the transmission crisis with the nanite experiments, and I'm trying to remember what some of those experiments came out as.
Oh yeah,
that could be a explanation for it. And then also Dredge and Parable called out that Osiris has a conversation with Rasputin without Anna there that we know of.
Correct. And as far as the Siva-mites or the nanomites, that is why I kind of am afraid that it's the latter and not the former. Because the basic like in science fiction, a very common trope of nanotechnology is that it does allow for, you know, mental augmentation, I think would be the best word for it. Because of the way that nanotechnology can actually literally infect you. Because that's what it's designed to do. It's designed to infect and then repair from within. So do with that what you will.
Right. All right. You ready for the second section?
Yes.
We're still into first entry, guys. This is going to take a while. Their descent to the roof of the exposed facility entrance had been the cleanest route. The trio's position atop the tunneled arch oversaw the caldera, with the installation's entrance causeway far below them. Jinju scans a cylinder protruding from the corroded roof, years caked around its metal frame. Anna kneels beside her. She scrapes oxidation from the cylinder's riveted label with her boot knife. Cranial node S0319. Anna runs her glove down the cylindrical node, brushing dust and oil grime from its metallic shell in search of a seam. Hello, cranial nodes S0319. Nice to meet you, you sneaky bastard. She guides the edge of her knife to chip away rust and expose the discolored metal underneath. How long did it take for rust to bleed tarnish into the steel's luster? She wipes her palm across the enclosures circularly, smearing ash progressively thinner until it blends like cloudy wax polish. Anna exhales, rolls her shoulders, and continues chipping away. The knife's blade finds purchase in the crease of the node's access panel seam. Anna pushes an impulse of light through the blade, busting the access panel cover free from its rusted locks. Ox access, redline 1 operative, subset, pillory number 9, Braytech, trademark. Serial 1012058112, Clovis 9. Auxiliary panels. Why would they put these on a closed system outside? Jinju cocks her shell to the side as if to shrug. Hard to say. Nothing in the archives? Jinju shakes her shell left to right. No. Anna shifts. You know what this is, Red? Discordant tones, ripples, indistinct expressions that fade against her visor. We'll see if you remember anything after we hook you into the mainframe. Anna kneels and looks over the exposed node panel before replacing the cover. Maybe even something on Atlas. Words sent forth to die in the storm. Atlas. Her grandfather's mythic journal. Its obscurity had proven far more challenging to overcome than anticipated. Anna's determination, however, was a resilient creature. Here, she would find answers. Jinju chirps and bobs towards the setting sun breaking through the edge of the storm. Thunder booms. Anna rocks back on her heels, letting her momentum tip her into a seated position in the dirt. Her eyes follow rusty drifts across the conquered spillway. A red front swims from the cloud overhead outward, kilometers away, nearly cinching off Sol's pale light. The star is a frail bulb. The delicate few petals of warmth that escape settles on Anna's face. Pollen sunk to the surface. She lets it soak, a momentary basking. Night creeps from the horizon, and with it the cold of darkness. She wouldn't stay long enough to be exposed. Anna eyes the causeway beneath. A reinforced blast door rough with erosion was blown agape at some point. Jinju peers over the 100-meter drop and descends steadily without hesitation. Anna pulls a dual-line cord from her bandolier and embeds it in the stone face. She lets her center of gravity teeter and fall, catching herself on cushions of light to slow her. Her feet find ground. Ghost beside her. She anchors the other end of the dual line in the causeway steel and clamps an auto lift to it. Anna revs the auto lift and runs slack out of the line. Jinju turns to Anna. Iris meets eyes. Think anybody's home? Anna dips her head towards the entrance. Flavored tone ripples cinnamon, and the scent washes across her visor with a dull whine. Jinju chirps and nods towards something behind her. Some distance from the opening, a detached sign lay exposed. Clovis 9. Anna's eyes sharpen, adventurous and keen. 9. Here I thought we found all the sites on Mars. End. So that is the end of that first section, and there's some fun things here. Jinju kind of just wants to go do her own thing half the time and just goes barreling in. Not a problem. Trying to get into the facility. Doesn't even wait for Anna. But
I love the conversation. I think I can't remember if this is the one I might have missed it because I'm getting shot at. But it's the one where it's like Anna is like, doesn't the lackey go in first? And Jinju's like, mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's later.
Okay.
Jinju is
that's like one of my favorite conversations.
Yeah, you're getting a hint at how Jinju is like, whatever, this is fine. This is fine.
We're good.
We're good. I mean, okay, so the thing that I wanted to point out in this section, though, is the concept of Atlas. Have we had any other explanation of what that is besides this entry?
I have it written in my notes, a really big question of what is Atlas. Like,
well, she says what it is.
Well, like, I mean, but what, like, big picture? What is, like, why is this something that is so important?
I mean, Atlas would be Clovis Bray's journal. Mythic journal is what she calls it. Its obscurity had proven far more challenging to overcome than anticipated. So, I mean, Clovis Bray, even though he's the head of the corporation, obviously had a lot of say in things, as well as like the research that they did. Do you think that theoretically we would figure out exactly what's going on with these facilities? I mean, we kind of get a taste of what's going on in the facilities, but that concept, that old concept from D1 of what happens when you're trying to beat death kind of thing. Like what ends will you go to try to beat death?
So, I mean, I argue that we do learn exactly what is going on with the pillory facilities. I think if you follow the like concept of, well, and again, we haven't quite got to the point just yet that it like there is a breakdown of logic that shows like if this happens then this, if this happens then this.
Right.
When we get to that part, I have a kind of a breakdown of the if thens, because the pillory project is very, very important for what we have in regards to Rasputin in current game. Like it's very revealing as far as why Rasputin has the issues that he has and the personality I think that he has is it reminds me a lot. I mean, I'm gonna say this in all seriousness. It reminds me a lot of Red versus Blue. Later Red versus Blue.
Sure.
When they finally do kind of start really focusing in on the story of the AIs.
Putting them back together.
Mm-hmm. And like what is going on with those AIs, like that is very it's very reminiscent of that. And I know, like, humor aside, Red versus Blue actually has a really good storyline, especially towards the end, the later seasons. Like they hooked you with the first couple seasons, but like by season, I think it was like season 4 or 5 when they finally like really.
They started getting interesting when they started adding animations, and it wasn't just machinima.
Yes.
Because of Church and the story that happens with Church, which is the story you're referencing, right? Like Church is
correct. Yep.
An aspect of the AI, right? Like he's one piece of it, and then you have all these other pieces that have been fractured off. Not to spoil Red versus Blue, which has been out for ever.
But I mean, you see, that's actually, kind of a hint to what the pillory is. Now, I know you mentioned the microsievert. I tried to do a calculation off of it. They have a weird thing. They're referencing microsievert per year. That's not normally how you reference it. It's usually microsievert per like minute or per hour. That then translates into like a sievert. So a sievert is basically a measurement of radiation. So it's literally, it's like, hey, this is the Geiger counter. That's what it is. It's basically a Geiger counter reference. Now a sievert is a kind of a different variation of it. It translates into like one sievert. I think, let me see. I'm going to try to remember this off the top of my head. One sievert is basically the equivalent of saying there is like either 5% or 0.5% chance that you will get radiation poisoning, basically. I know that's a vast difference, and I apologize. I cannot remember where the decimal goes on that, but it's like so. But a microsievert is like, so a microsievert is 1,000,000 of those is one sievert. So when you say it's 67 microsieverts per year, I'm not really like, when I was looking at that, I don't know. I am not. This is not my forte, so like I could be incorrect, but I was like, I don't see that as a huge radiation spike. So I'm not really sure.
It could be like an older
like,
bit of radiation.
Right. I mean,
thing.
like the fact that the radiation is there, but like you have
right,
radiation
but I think that's
in general.
Right, but I think that's what she's pointing out with some of it too, because she with the cranial nodes specifically, it's the like she talks about brushing dust and oil grime from its metallic shell, and like how old it is. Everything's oxidized, like how many years it took to oxidize and cake around its metal frame. Like there's mentions to this being an old facility, right?
Correct. And that actually ties into the patina comment, or the patina term. Patina is basically a reference. I mean, so you have like these two sections of this lore entry, rust and patina. Patina is basically the green-brown film on a surface of bronze or a similar metal that's produced by oxidation over a long period. And you can also see, like, people will see this often. It's it's actually really pretty. But it's when you have a metal surface that has been, it's not just rust, it's actually oxidized. And because bronze oxidizes differently than steel, it actually takes on a green cast.
Right. You can have oxidation on a lot of different materials. Silver will oxidize and get a patina, but it's not green like what we often think patina to be, because the most common one is the Statue of Liberty, which was not initially meant to be green. It was bronze.
But then they put it in the ocean, so
I mean, it's pretty. I like her as green blue.
I mean, but it's the same. I mean, it's the same as the Eiffel Tower. Actually, they're sister structures. But I mean, like, yeah, and so that's when you said patina, that's what that is.
Yep. All right. So, do you want to read the next one, or you want to keep going on your thing? And
I would love to hear you. I see this as practice for you on your upcoming audiophile series.
Spoiler alert for that.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. All right. Speaking of which, I've been recording today, so that's been fun. Seth
Green's doing an amazing job. I cannot
Seth is
wait
a
for
masochist. No, Seth is a sadist when it comes to like
that makes you
finding,
the masochist.
I know. He's a sadist when it comes to like what words he uses, because I have to go and figure out how to pronounce some of these things, and they're new words for me, which is good. I'm learning thanks to him, but it's a big FU at the same time. Anyway. Oh my god. All right. Patina. Clovis 9. Apollinaris caldera. The splintered blast door wheezes. Licks of wind spill over the caldera and whistle through ragged gaps between metal shed fragments. The blast door had been peeled away. Circulars of high density. Curlicues, that's what that word is. Curlicues of high density, plasteel gnarled into dead spider legs. Anna focuses her eyes on the damage. This door, it's built like a vault. Something punched right through it. Jinju draws a scan over the door, frame to frame. They'd need a lot of power to penetrate that much plasteel. Heat discoloration, frictional wear, and vigorous application are printed throughout the vault-style door. Channels like neon paint spatter radiation scar the metal's face, gilded in veins of copper teal patina. Tarnish concentrates along the strips that once formed the center of the door, while the surrounding shore-like edges, still largely intact, remain swollen and fused to the archway framing it. Anna steps closer to the blast door and runs her hand along the steel. She swats to silence the resonators on her visor. I didn't see this from up there. I thought it was just pitted, but look at these markings. Jinju floats squarely above Anna's head. Her iris traces the spiraling patterns within small indented pits in the metal. Together, they follow interlinking connections that flow from the door's center outward, carving symmetrical grooves only micrometers in depth. So, not punched, more like pushed. Jinju zeroes in on stress fractures in the metal. The damage was applied delicately, as if someone had bent had split, bent, and smoothed each individual protrusion with meticulous intention. Anna scrapes corrosion into a sterile receptacle with fingertips clawed in pointed light and stows it in her bandolier. Jinju chirps. Damage predates the eruption by a lot. It's a miracle it wasn't flooded. Anna nods. These patterns look like wavelengths. What do you think, Red? Aurelian honey drip tones wash through Anna's helmet in luxurious fashion. Something Golden Age, sure. Anna massages her palm contemplatively. Biometric scan still says it's empty. Whatever did it, they're gone now. Jinju flicks a light on and shines it into the door hole puncture. Guardians first. Anna scrunches her face at her ghost. You know, normally it's the lackey that goes in first. Yes, chirps Jinju. Rasputin hums a resplendent and authoritative purplish rhythm through Anna's helmet. It persists, orchestral vibrato trailing in her ears. Ha ha, Anna responds, devoid of amusement. They enter together. I'm going to stop right there for this one. Just because this one doesn't necessarily have a good stopping place. At least to break it up. So, couple things with this one. Jinju is a jerk face. So is Rasputin.
I just love that. You know, usually it's the lackey that goes first. Yep.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And then Rasputin's like hee basically in the background. Like, good lord. It's like Anna is the stand-up comedian, and she's got the two little monkeys in the background dancing and backing her up, but at the same time making fun of her. It's like, good lord. Another thing to mention with this section right here is that it confirms that the explosion of the volcano, or the eruption, not the explosion, the eruption of the volcano happened after the fact of this breaking and entering into this facility. And we don't know what broke into it yet. Another little fun thing to point out is Anna uses light in a lot more different ways than we do as Guardians. One of the things she did earlier in the entry is she used it inside of, like, she infused her knife to basically pop things open. Right? She doesn't use her ghost to open something. She just does it herself with a little bit of light help. Huh.
Smart.
Very. I don't think Jinju would do it for her anyway with the way that he acts. God, he's... She acts. She's a jerk. The other thing is Anna uses... Let's see, what was it? The second one that she uses. She uses her light for something in here, too. With fingertips clawed and pointed light and stows it in her bandolier. So she uses light as basically tweezers to pick up something and put it into her bandolier without disturbing anything on it. That's really cool to me. Like, she's using Green Lantern style light to pick it up and move.
Mm-hmm.
Was that an editorial comment? It should be. It should be. Jinju is a jerk. Oh my goodness. Do you have anything on that opening section?
No. My brunt of my notes is actually on the the logic statement about the pillory, and then later in the second entry with regards to the station.
Okay. Well, okay. I'm just like trying to figure out how to break up this next section because it's so stinking long. All right. I'm going to make you read a little bit because you're not fighting anymore.
That is true. Let me pull it up.
Anna leads. Yeah, we're at Anna leads, which is right past... Well, it's before you get to any of the logic.
Okay.
Within the...
Okay, Anna leads. Gotcha. And of course, I move to a different monitor, and it drops me.
Gotta love technology.
Yep, I know. All right, here we go. So Anna leads. Jinju's light speckles through ash filtering in from the punctured doorway, but all elsewhere there is only stillness. A small utilitarian atrium encircles them with a freight lift directly ahead, saddled by two large windows. Smudges and clouded filth belie a grander facility beyond them. A sectioned-off reception desk fills the space on their right, while lockers line the opposing left wall or lay fallen in impact craters of collecting ash. Above them, a large gyro arm, split from the vault door, is ensconced into the ceiling. Cracks in the surrounding superstructure tell of a violent snap. The room isn't particularly tall, only enough to accommodate the entryway frame behind them. From the arm, the ceiling slopes down swiftly to the top of the lift mechanism. Lines of fluorescent bulbs popped or burnt out ages ago litter the floor in a field of glass shards that transform Jinju's light beam into prismatic skitters across the walls. Anna looks around and crunches through the glass, making her way to the windows. Her visor ripples infrared as a scan sweeps the room. Heat signatures, nil. I'm not seeing any access points to plug red in. Her voice trails with abject confusion. Jinju whirls and floats past Anna, decompiling herself into data points of light that sift into the walls around the lift. Jinju's flashlight goes with her. Darkness rushes in on Anna to fill the space left by Jinju's absence. It halts against the light impicerium, clinging to her like a second skin. She waits in depth. A pause. Time malleable in the dark. Anna puts her fingers to the glass and leans. It feels firm, cold, resistant to pressure. She draws in her fingers, leaving trenches in the caked soot. Her fist closes and polishes a clean hole through the smears. A pop sounds overhead and glass plinks off her helmet. Anna ducks her head reflexively. A few remaining intact fluorescent bulbs surge with electricity. Some burst into flashes of ash and sparks, but enough remain to dimly light the room. Through the newly cleaned window porthole, lights twinkle within a dark expanse of liquid before swelling into waves of psychedelic surf across endless towering fields of circuitry. Anna inches her face closer to the glass. The lift chugs. A thin overlay interface pulses to life on top of the basalt separation between lift and window, pulling away Anna's attention. Jinju recompiles herself into being, a smug lilt to her wafting motions through the air. Her tight beam carves existence out of the dark. Rasputin can't do everything, you know. A crimson-hued lash spits venom across Anna's visor. Good job, Jinju. Red, Kool-Aid. The trio board the lift. The lift descends. Maximum capacity, 14,515 kilograms. They drift diagonally deeper. On either side, paint step signage bears familiarity. Clovis 9. The Bray name, in origin, at least as far back as anyone would care to look, was seeded inseparably from Clovis. Preservations on the shaft walls, though dulled under waning ash coat, solidify his legacy in stenciled prints visible through the split-weave chicken wire wrap that surrounds the lift. Anna lets loose a whistle. Rasputin, this has your name written all over it. Senseless quiet sounds back in recognition of a daunting unfamiliarity. Pillory containment, maintenance. Hydraulic pipes groan as the freight lift transitions from the stony shaft enclosure into a glass-walled overlook. Anna steps forward, Jinju close behind. Both peer through the rusted links onto monolithic mangroves of circuitry and data cores drowned in an oceanic tank. Coolant ebbs and flows through bundles of sapphire wiring in shallow breaths. Psychotropic surge washes over motley arcs of electricity as they zip between the towers like synaptic impulses. Tint spills through glasses and flows over eye and iris alike, dripping color into faint emergency lighting. Anna slips between the feverish half-breath beats of pigment that roll over the lift cabin. She could stare forever. If time would wait, it might be enough. Rhythmic, fleeting, frantic beauty in arrest. Something blinks in her visor. Hypoxema, BO 77%. She shakes it. Comes to, breathes, sharp. Anna turns her head towards Jinju, her eyes still affixed to the glass. Are those servers? An archive? An undercurrent of excitement pitches through Anna's voice. Atlas had always materialized in her mind as a journal or a hidden subset of file directories. But this, if this is what she thought it was, after all these years, buried gems still hold the capacity to surprise her. Jinju sends scans out into the drink. They're shielded. She sinks a bit under the weight of her disappointment. It's odd that they'd run the servers off backup power, if that's what they are. I was only able to trip the auxiliary breaker from the atrium. Mainframe access. At least we're going in the right direction. Clatters and whines echo through the shaft as the lift comes to a stop. Do we stop there?
Yeah. Okay, so hypoxemia or hypoxemia is she basically was her oxygen levels in her blood were low.
She forgot to breathe.
She forgot to breathe. She literally just stopped breathing.
It's totally understandable when you see something that just like takes your breath away.
I mean, wow. No. I just can't. It's the laugh. It's the laugh afterwards. I'm so proud of myself. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so couple things with that, right? So Sapphire Weave. That is an old component back in D1. We don't have Sapphire Weave anymore. Mm-hmm. And I think it was Sapphire Wire back in D1.
Correct. Yeah.
And then another call out is the lift that they're on, which is 14,515 kilograms. That translates to 16 tons for those of us who are not in the metric system because the US is weird. But 16 ton, that's a huge lift. Like what?
It's a cargo
That's
lift.
more than it's a large cargo lift. It's not even a small one because even normal cargo lifts don't do 16 tons. That's more than a semi truck.
Correct.
But beyond that, I don't have any other super big notes from this area. Just that the conversations between Jinju and Red and Anna, she basically calls him out on basically to cool it because Red was getting a little huffy at Jinju being able to turn something on.
You can't do everything.
Yeah, basically. Muttering, angry old man style. But there's a concept that she talks about with the fact of being in the dark, that time is malleable. I think that's an interesting call out. It means more so in the fact that she's anxiously waiting in this point, but it's a very, when you have nothing to mark time, no light, no sense to be able to mark it, it's very easy to let your mind create more time there than there actually is, if that's a way to put it. And it makes you wonder of our descent into the darkness. But did you have anything with this one?
No, I mean, it is basically a gigantic server room. I mean, I think it speaks for itself, to be honest. Again, most of my thoughts are going to come when she starts digging into the pillory segment of code.
Do you want to read the pillories or the coding?
Yeah, I can totally keep reading.
Yes, please.
Gates glide through pristine tracks and slip into alcove slots in the walls, giving way to a maintenance nexus fed by dozens of service hatch, fiber line cluster, and access tunnel nervous systems that sprawl the facility. Directly ahead, a door, Pillory mainframe, Paragon. Anna's visor sweeps and highlights a dead network aperture embedded in a web of tunnels below them. Jinju, think you can get us through that? Crinkle thrum laughter purrs from Jinju's shell. Power will be restored momentarily. Anna approaches the mainframe door. Jinju's light fetters dissipate behind her. Dissipate behind her. It's no blast door, but still far denser than any of the surrounding maintenance hatches. Anna turns away from the door and looks back to survey the room. Brass-hued citrus prickles surge from temple to temple across her visor. Discrepancies in the floor's smoothness trim with ballistics pings. Impact-gouged divots had whisked chunks of melted stone into shallow swept peaks all along the floor. A peppering of gloss-ridden flakes around each of Rasputin's contact pings designate 3 main concentrations of fire. Someone had a gunfight down here. Looks like everything was flying in one direction. Nice catch, Red. Satin satisfaction weaves over Anna's skin and dissolves like perfume. Jinju reforms prideful. Auxiliary power spooling down. Main power stations, of which there are 22, are coming online presently. Expect full operational system functionality to be restored within a minute or 2. What would I do without you? Well, you would only die once, and that would be it. Anna shakes her head and attempts to bite down a smile. Rasputin remains silent. The trio position themselves at the door as breaker activations roll thunderous current through the facility. Anna unclasps the halter strap of 18 kelvins. Light strips sputter and strain to illumination along corners and grooves outlining the floor and ceiling. Glimmers catch in the gunfire ruts behind them. She extends her fist to Jinju. Jinju bumps it with her shell. Anna taps her knuckles against her head to bass beat response. She nods. Stay behind me. A lens blinks at center top position above the mainframe door. It sweeps red light over them, focuses in on Anna Bray's badge, and shuts off. Moments pass before a discrepant speaker garbles a synthetic wail of acknowledgement. Pistons locks slink into silicon grease sheaths, and the access door retracts into the ceiling. Bodies. Flickering shadows strobe 3 forms, sunken and ragged. They lay motionless in pools of iridescent slick. Tacky globs grip tattered textile strands like threadbare posts driven into oil. Powerless, unlit. Exos. Jinju's somberness bleeds into the cadence of her movement as she sweeps the scene. Repairs might be, and wipe them again? No. Anna follows her in and hovers over one of them, carefully avoiding the pool of oil. Let them be. Besides, it's not like they're going anywhere. Between the bodies lay a sleek instrument, sized for crew deployment and dressed in precious filigree tendrils rimmed in calligraphic etching. The instrument's core links to multiple platinum discus drums implanted into its frame, resembling the smaller resonators on Anna's helmet, and ends with a hopper crown of artificial diamond bearings. Here's what they used to crack the entrance door. Jinju assesses structural damage to the device. Twists of broken machinations do nothing to diminish the Golden Age beauty. Took a lot of hits. Inoperable. Not beyond saving, though. Jinju tilts to the machine while Anna approaches an exo-body. Should I transmit this back home? Yeah, her answer full of distraction. Anna kneels, a visor sweep highlights bullet holes, ruptures, and mechanical failures. Her eyes, however, see only the Braytech emblem emblazoned on the Exo's uniform. Anna pulls a rusty clasp badge from the Exo's belt. 0220-17. Echo Project. Paragon clearance. This is how they accessed the lift and got through the door scan. How long ago was this? Power kicks on. Strip lights drone as charge flows through the room. A thick glass enclosure dug out of the far wall brightens. Beyond the glass divider, a stepway and a series of console undergoing automated boot procedures. Jinju analyzes an exo. They're well preserved down here. Hard to tell exactly. I'll take some samples. A synthetic voice, wrapped with static and age, seethes into the room. Security verification. Jinju and Anna turn to each other. Anna lifts her hands in a shrug and mouths, I don't know. Jinju's look intensifies into a glare, her thoughts almost transmitting telepathically. Try something? Bray, Synesthesia. Verification. Scans run over them. Anomalous entity detected. Rogue mind detected. A duo of Gauss repeaters drop and align firing solutions. Anna grips Jinju with her gun hand and flings her back, condensing a swarm grenade in her left. She tumbles sideways as the coil guns open fire and flings the grenade in the opposite direction. It erupts into firefly explosions that flutter towards the turrets. The repeaters snap to the solar heat signatures and unload at the distraction. 18 Kelvins line up with the leftmost repeater, chucking round after electrified round into the sparking turret. Her gun burns superheated, discharging arc rounds with cores of solar light. Metal drips molten from the turret's fluxing frame. It rattles. A final round ruptures the magnetic barrel and splits the rotary breech, sending splinters of shrapnel across the room. With the swarm grenades, fireflies depleting, the remaining Gauss repeater swivels and locks onto Anna. She ducks under a leading shot and spins, using centrifugal force to whip a solar knife through the turret, splitting it. Flame-licked fluid spills onto the ground as the knife detonates. Fire fills the roll of the stuttering lighting fixtures. Of course, those still work. Anna pivots on her heel. Jinju? Extinguishment protocols sputter into action, dousing the oily blaze with directed bicarbonate foam. Alive! Jinju slinks into view from behind a fallen exo and examines the bullet-laden turret. You've never tripped a security system before. Anna thumbs the echo badge in her hand before stowing it. I don't think I did. She walks to the far wall. What did it mean by rogue mine? Jinju glides close to Anna's shoulder, remaining partially covered, and taps her helmet with a plink of light. Did someone in there know? Jade scale hue trimmers ripple across Anna's visor like caffeinated tea before they fade into deep blood-red knots in her chest. Let's get some answers. Anna swipes the echo card through a glowing slit in the glass. Recognition beeps and clinks sound as magnetic locks unlatch from the thick ballistic plate door. She pushes her way into the room. Jinju peers over her shoulders as she passes and watches Anna's login clear on the console before following. Clovis, 9. Pillory access. Echolink, pending request. Warmind network bypass. Anna stares into the console's interface. What are you? I'm going to stop there for a second.
Yeah, I think that's wise. So the first hints of Rasputin being considered a rogue mind, and the fact that the AI for the system or the system doesn't necessarily understand that what the ghost is. They don't know what that is. Up to you on that one, Jay.
Do you think that the rogue mine is reference to the ghost or to Rasputin? Because I took it as reference to Rasputin. Okay.
When I think the rogue is the Rasputin, the anomaly, because it references an anomaly. That's the ghost.
Correct. Okay. That's how I was reading it too, but I just wanted to make sure.
But the thing is like they're following in footsteps of somebody who broke into this system before the volcano ever erupted on
before
Mars.
The Golden Age ended.
Likely before the Golden Age ended. And they broke in with this like diamond-studded drill that has it's the image I have in my mind is of the type of drills they use for digging out tunnels.
Mm-hmm.
But it's diamond-studded, which would cut through a lot more than normal steel would. But were there other things on this one that you want to talk about before we close out the intro session?
No, I mean, the big thing that to me stands out is the definition of paragon. Excuse me. Paragon
being
is
the prestigious.
Yeah.
The epitome.
It's basically something that's viewed as the model of excellence. A paragon is a person or thing regarded as a perfect example of a particular quality. The reason why I find this of interest is because it is paired with pillory. Pillory is actually it is an actual thing. A pillory is the best example is every low budget medieval film that I've ever seen has one of these. It is the stocks that people get put in. It's the wooden framework with holes for the head and hands that people will get put in. The purpose was to imprison them and then expose them to public abuse. So basically, what would be done is they would be put into the stocks, into the pillory, and then for a day or an X amount of time, and throughout the day, the public, the general public, would basically either throw rotting vegetables at them, throw stuff at them, make fun of them, jeer at. It was a form of punishment.
Public shame.
Yeah, it was a form of punishment that was ascribed to like the lesser crimes, basically to try to curb people from doing it. Is really what it was. But pillory and paragon are very opposite things. So I find it interesting that they were put together. Paragon access to the pillory, or pillory access with paragon clearance, is it's just an interesting layout of terms in my mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if the pillory itself is meant as a way to create the paragon, right? Like, use pillory as a way to...
Yeah, I would argue that the paragon is more like the law enforcement that imposes the pillory as a use.
Okay. Gotcha. I gotcha. Cool. Okay, so here's my question to you. Do we want to just finish reading this card and then start the next episode with the explanation of it? Because there's still a lot left. Or do you want to start the next episode with this portion?
Yeah, we can read. I think there's on this card, is there... Oh.
I wouldn't mind just reading it. There's not as much as far as... You'll get into the actual logic at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's read it, and then we can start the advanced with the logic breakdown.
Okay.
Do you want to read it?
You want me to take...
Yeah. You do it. Not it.
I'll do it. Okay. Anna stares in the console's interface. What are you? Not Atlas. Jinju's dejection reverberates in the glass cell. Anna flicks a sideward glance over her shoulder at her ghost before selecting Warmind Network Bypass. No. But it looks like the system had backdoors all over. She toggles through a list of the Shadow Network's production facilities and connected pillory stations. It's not Atlas, but it's a start. There are 11 other stations like this. There's a whole subnet defense network completely disconnected from the Warmind initiative. Anna steps back. Why? Jinju circles the screen. Why is right. Anna dives back into the terminal. The facilities listed span the system. Earth and Luna, Europa, asteroids adrift now belonging to the shore, Mars, naturally. Even so far as Uranus. That station, an orbital, caught her eye. Echo. She flicks back to the previous menu. Echo Link. One of these stations has a pending request. Thin tapped tones of pale tin reek metallic inside Anna's helmet, frenetic and uneven. Pillory does sound bad. A few swift motions navigate the trio into the pillory access menu. Redline Protocol. Test pillory. Status. Ready. Redline Protocol. Initiative pillory. Clearance. P7s. Redline Protocol. Purge pillory. Status. No target. Redline Protocol. Procedural outline. Select Verification 1.072. Never hurts to read the instructions. Anna selects the procedural outline. Her gaze chisels into the loading screen. In the event of a Redline Protocol incident, Paragon level members, Pillory System, Network Clovis 1 through 12. Access Point Clovis 9. In the event of a catastrophic failure, neural degeneration, or loss of containment, Herein, collectively referred to as Rogue Mind Incident, initiatives, Warmind cerebral partitioning, and quarantine integration into 12 Clovis stations within Neural Webway. Redline Protocol. Check Purge for no target. System reads locked when in use. System reads no target when in standby. Fire, test pillory. Must read ready. Fire, initiate pillory. Warning, initiate only during Rogue Mine incident. Automated link, Echo contingency. Fire, Echo project, automated. Sever connection to Echo link for Redline protocol quarantine in the event of a Rogue Mine incident. Internal failure resolution directives. Troubleshooting. Network schematic. Neural webway. Containment failure. Station maintenance. Clovis 1 through 12. Jinju rolls her shell end over end along the top of the console display. Want me to get in there? Yeah. Download everything. Figure out where we can stitch Rasputin in and give him station control. Oh? Lavender aroma relaxation subsides sour worry not tensions building throughout the atmosphere in Anna's suit. Red, if anyone can pull your brain apart, it should be you. That sounds fair, Jinju agrees. Anna leans into the console. All these connections are one-way network integrations from closed systems. We'll have to do it manually at each site. Oh. Jinju's voice digitizes as she trails off into a snowdrift of light and enters the console. But first, Anna jumps back into the main menu and selects the pending Echo Link request. Echo Link. Kalius Station Actual Uranus. Manual distress trigger. Launch 1 initiated. Manual failure. Bay 1 compromised. Bay 2 inert. Counterbalance failure. Orbital decline. 42 days, 12 minutes, 7 seconds. The orbital decline timer ticks down. No time to waste. Once you get red access, we have a station to save. So, do we want to talk about it, or do we want to be like, and we'll explain it next time?
I mean, I'm going to explain it next time. But okay. I think that the important thing on this one is that this is in and of itself an explanation to what the pillory project, I guess would be the best term for it, what it is. And it also is a revelation / explanation to why Rasputin is the way he is currently.
Rasputin is a rogue mind, not the original. Well, he is the original. He's just broken.
Rasputin is not the true tyrant. That's
which is terrifying.
Yep. I was about to say, that's very scary.
Yeah. The thing that I don't know, does it say in any of these directives, like, what causes to go rogue mind?
Yes.
Okay.
Is
that
yes.
Next time?
It is. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It is part of the if-then statement.
Sweet. All right. So, shout-outs to having something to talk about other than real life. Because real life is not fun right now. Make sure that your real life has a break. Take a break. Read something fun.
Read Legacy.
Yeah. Or any of the other lore. Some of it's more depressing than others, so stay away from those depressing things, but good luck finding them, because there's a lot of... Anyway.
Green's like, this started turning out as a happy thing, but then...
I mean... Yeah, I was just thinking, it's like, they could read, nope, not Black Armory pages, nope, not the Awoken of the Reef or the Marcena, although there are happy moments there.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty bleak right now, guys. But yeah, I find it's fun to be able to talk about something other than our own real life problems. We can talk about video game problems, story problems.
Mm-hmm.
Anna and Jinju fighting / Rasputin manipulating Anna to make her feel calm by using lavender scent, which, for the record, doesn't work with everybody. Some people detest the scent of lavender. Just saying.
Anna does not.
No, Anna likes it. Anna's, I'm going to say this and you can bleep me out later. Anna's a basic bitch. She loves her lavender, probably pumpkin spice lattes.
In her Ugg boots.
And her White Claws.
Her White Claws. You mean her Light Claws?
Yeah. Anyway, what about you for shoutouts?
I think you kind of hit it on the head. With everything that's going on, I really think that, those of us who have a platform to speak need to remember to stay calm. So I know it's to keep your head, on your shoulders, not fly off on tangents. And
fly
I think
off on
that,
the handle.
yeah, I think that there's been, to be fair, there's been a good number of people who have done exactly that. And so a big shout out to those who are in the community, who are doing their part, and keeping calm and giving their community a place to have a safe place, whether that is a place to vent, whether that is a place to, to feel safe on, all the stuff that's going on with the Me Too thing that is still exploding across the internet, as it rightfully should. That's still, it's a painful time out there. And so a big shout out to everyone who has given a safe haven to those who are in pain. I think that
sometimes you need to take space, and that is okay.
Yes, and that
doesn't mean, yeah, it doesn't mean burying your head in the sand like an ostrich and never coming back to it, because it's something that we all kind of have to face in some way, shape, or form right now. But taking space is not a bad thing. It gives you a chance to reset and look at it objectively later.
And taking time off is not it's okay. You don't have to, one of my really favorite quotes is, you don't have to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. Take care of number one. You got to take care of yourself first. That's the only way. Even if you're trying to take care of other people, if you don't take care of yourself, if you're not in a good place, you can't help others. And that's the big thing, that I hope people hear. But yeah, that all being said, we just, again, want to thank you for your time. And until next time, remember, with wisdom we conquer. Stand strong, stand tall, and keep exploring.
Good. Okay, I'm going to go to the restroom real quick before we start the second one.
Aww. Very rude. Do. Wow, that was a terrible shot. Ah, hey, thanks, Wicked.
Oh, thank you for the gift subs and the bits and all the things, guys.
Woo!
Woohoo! Yeah. Wicked, are you heading out for the night?
Oh, thanks, Dredgen.
Since you have to work in the morning?
Ew.
Yeah. Gross. Gross. It's already 1 a.m. Why are you saying sorry? Go to bed.
It's not 1 a.m.
For him, it is.
Is he on the East Coast?
It will be. No. Well, he is now. He's in Carolina. North Carolina.
I thought they were in the. I thought they were
California
with you.
originally.
Ah, okay.
No. He was on the California base until, what was it, January when you guys moved? No, December. December they moved to North Carolina. So now he's on East Coast time.
Ew.
Yeah, it is okay. It makes it a lot more difficult to get the group together to play, unfortunately. But it is what it is. You know what I've been getting into? Now that we're like decompressing a tiny bit before jumping back in.
Sniper.
Have you
rounds.
have
Yep,
you ever
continue.
had matcha?
Yeah. Oh,
Do
that
you
was
like
a
matcha?
shit throw. Yeah, it's good.
I've been drinking matcha lattes for oh, you switched to Titan. That is
Come-
very weird looking.
Boom!
Yeah. Hey, you know what we call that?
Tink tink! Tink tink!
That is not a tink tink. That is a big dong hammer.
I just like yelling tink tink.
Uh-huh. The extreme caffeine. Yeah, matcha lattes are something I've been kind of trying to get into instead of drinking so much coffee, because I give myself heartburn sometimes. It's
Ow!
yummy. This is not what you expected when you decided to finally watch live. I mean, my first question is it a good kind of realization of what we're actually like, or a bad realization?
How good is Blue's editing?
Blue is very good at editing. Green is also very bad at making things come across very awkwardly.
They have interceptors spawning? This is dangerous. Summon Cabal Intercept. Oh! Booger.
Oh,
Yes.
goodness. Yep. I'm proud of you for playing more than just one character this season.
I've always wanted to. I just never have felt like the drive to. So it was like
Yeah.
when that happened, I was like, you know what? I'm working from home more. The summer is when
You are
like
right.
what's that?
He wants that title, is what Black Flag said. It's
Oh
like,
yeah,
you're not
I mean
wrong.
like no, and that's the thing is like it's the title, but it's also like just the circumstances. Like with the summer being Minion's gonna be visiting family quite a bit, and so like I don't know, like I don't have as much as I normally have on my shoulders as far as schedule confinements. So it was like, yeah, sure, I'll totally. It also forces me. Well, the other thing that honestly helps is that I can transition things, and they unlocked all these subclasses.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to like fully level all my characters like you did in D1, like because that was rough.
Orchid, you've been playing Siege though. You have an excuse. The first podcast you listened to from us guys was about the Books of Sorrow. Yeah.
That was an
That was
interesting one.
Justin.
That was Justin and Willie. Oh, there is more
Mhm.
taken over here than I thought.
Go give him a hug.
I tried.
Yes, you did.
He
That
booted
ogre
me.
was willing to open his arms to you too.
Oh, got it. That's an interesting mark. I just need... I apparently unlocked enough umbrals that now I only have one left to unlock. So I only need one of these weekly things.
I'm telling you, just go into the last wish, go to the wish wall. I'll send you the picture that you need to make it work, and then just do Titan Striker. Just you have to do it twice. That's it, and then you'll be done with on.
Whoa! Who are you?
Hey, look, it's the boss from the contact event.
I
He
know.
was all the way by you.
What is he doing over here?
He chased you for some reason.
Oh God!
Right now. You are the blueberry who pissed him off.
What the hell? I'm not even in the right section. Go away. Listen, assholes. Look out now. Go away. All right, fine. Come over here. Give each other a hug. Come on.
Pollen Guillotine is amazing. There's also the I don't know what the new arc bolt one or the arc sword is. I can't remember the name of it. I actually use that one more. Yeah, I use that one way more than I use the Fallen Guillotine because of the range ability.
Mm-hmm. I haven't used I haven't gotten the guillotine yet.
Oh, it's so good.
But I have like Temptation's hooks. I've gotten like 50 billion of them.
Right. It's the first one you would get. Makes me wonder if they're going to bring back the solar sword as well.
Young Wolf's
No, the one that... So...
You can hear the sadness.
I know. So much sadness. The Fallen Guillotine is Dark Drinker, right? Like it's the new version of Dark Drinker. But because of lore reasons, they won't bring back actual Dark Drinker, so this is the new version. Wow. And then the Arc one is the Arc Sword, and I can't remember the old Solar Sword. I'm just grateful.
What was it? God, man, now I can't remember it.
I'm just grateful they're not making us collect planetary materials and do public events to get the stupid things. Do you remember that from D1? It fucking sucked. It sucked so goddamn bad. I don't care.
I was the one. I was the one that like they were like, "Oh, you have to go to Mars and get relic iron." I'm like, "Okay, cool," and I'm like, done. Everyone else is like, "I hate you so much." I'm like, "Yay, RNG cooperated."
Yeah, you finished that a lot sooner because it was not getting the relic iron that was bad. It was the fucking public event you had to do because it never spawned.
Oh, see, that's when you used what was it? That was a shit hammer throw.
Raise lighter. Gotcha.
Raise lighter. Yeah.
Thank you.
I love throwing this hammer.
Baby hammer?
The baby hammer, it's so much fun. Bunk.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, it disappeared. Oh no, it's gonna take forever.
That's Dwyer's favorite loadout, is that middle tree or whatever, and using the baby hammer as his
so much
follow-up
fun. It's because you just like you just thunk them in the head, and it's like
Bungie acknowledged that they had a problem spawning the event. I'm glad they acknowledged it because we all knew it.
Or counting that you've completed the event.
No.
Whoa! The
Mars event
for what was that? Dark Drinker.
Mm-hmm. Oh back in the day. So we were doing the prophecy dungeon the other day, and frickin' Wicked would use the guillotine on the knights. But because it takes a second because when you're spinning with the guillotine, it doesn't actually count where you're standing in the spin as part of the location where you're supposed to stand. So he kept giving us the fucking wrong color of motes. And I finally had to yell at him to put the damn sword away, like put away the dick, so pull out something that's going to actually be helpful because your dick's not helping right now. It's like, God damn you. We spent so much fucking time trying to get motes because he kept running in with the damn sword. I'm like, you asshole. Don't use guillotine on the final boss during Prophecy Dungeon. That is the lesson of the story. Because I didn't say men are useless. I just said that Wicked's sword is useless. And he's not here to defend himself, so it's all good. He'll get me back later. Yeah. No. Just don't use that sword in that freaking dungeon. It basically, did you know that if you touch the ground on a certain area, it'll change your affiliation, whether or not you're standing in light or dark? But if you're jumping, yeah. But if you're jumping in the air and you're still you could still theoretically be considered dark until you touch the ground, which is why the sword doesn't work in that area, because the sword swing actually counts as a jump for some reason.
What? Okay.
I don't have Mountaintop Orchid. I'm still working on it. Because I do use a grenade launcher, but I don't grab heavy very often. And I hate using the Martyr's, what is it, Martyr's Retribution in Crucible. I need to get it, but it's going away, isn't it?
Mountaintop?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think so, because that's the seasonal thing, right?
I think so. Parable, the dungeon is amazing. It's so pretty. It's my favorite content this season, and I've only been in there to the point where I'm at once. I'm sorry, hon.
What console are you on?
It's so good, Ed. We were talking about that last night a little bit, just as far as like the artistic style of it. Did I tell you that it's essentially walking through an MC Escher painting?
Yeah, I mean, like, you could see that from the concept art, too.
I love the puzzle aspect, too. Like, it's real simple, but you have to pay attention. Why Shax has an Ahamkara skull singing to him? I mean, they don't have Alexa. Let me know when you're ready to start the second one.
Okay. I am ready to start the second one.
Yay! Efficiency.
Take a bite real quick.
What are you eating?
And I grabbed me some McDonald's.
Nice. We had a place open up here in town called Runza, which apparently is a Nebraska thing.
Okay.
And they do... You've had a beer rock before, right? That's the closest approximation that I could give you for what a runza is. It's the crumbly, it's crumbly beef with like caramelized onions in there, and the one that I got also had mushrooms and Swiss cheese, but it's inside of a soft roll like dough bedding all the way around. It's pretty yummy. Kara play Baby Shark. Oh, that would be terrifying. Because you know they would make that go on a loop forever. Night, Orchid.
All right.
By
I'm getting there. Hang on.
the way, I got the package in yesterday for the
Yay!
book. So thank you. Thank you for the update.
Mm-hmm. Glad it made it.
Me too. It's in really good shape too, even though it was in like
Yeah.
bubble packaging. They actually didn't fuck it up, so
Awesome.
yay.
All right. Welcome to Focus Fire Chat, recorded live on June 28th, 2020, over on twitch.tv/FocusFireChat, as we continue our discussion over the web lore entries Legacy. This particular episode will serve as what we have come to call the advanced session of the week's exploration. Congratulations to those who have signed up for a deeper dive. Before we go any further, however, let's run through a quick introduction of who all we have with us on the show. As always, this is your host, Blue Crew 86.
Sometimes I just want to wait to see if anybody else says anything because you're like, all who are with us on the show. And it's like, wait a second. It's
Wait
just
for
me.
Oh, hello.
It's just me. Hi, it's Green. I don't have a funny thing to say at the moment
Hey,
except for
Hey, listen.
Hey, listen. Hey. Break chat.
Then Justin
Then
comes out of
Justin-
nowhere.
Uh-huh.
You know, I wouldn't put it past
wouldn't.
him.
Mhm. Yes.
Oh. But so I guess just to jump right into it, because these are going to be kind of obviously, excuse me, these are going to be longer episodes.
Just a bit.
Really quick, so we wrapped up on the code on the pillory logic.
Mm-hmm.
A couple things there. So basically, what we see is, we see what happens to create a rogue mind when it says that there are three events, three events that could cause a rogue mind. And those events are catastrophic failure, neural degeneration, or loss of containment. And these three will be referred to as a rogue mind incident. If a rogue mind incident occurs, it initiates what's called the war mind cerebral partitioning and quarantine integration into the 12 Clovis stations that are comprised within the neural webway. So basically what happens is the war mind cerebral partitioning is literally the splintering of the war mind into 12 units and then quarantine integration into 12 stations. So that is why when Anna mentioned that they are one-way network integrations from closed systems, that is the quarantine integration. So they partition Rasputin into 12 pieces and then shunt each of those pieces into a separate Clovis station and then quarantine those stations. There are literally no way for them to come back in. That is what is basically the pillory process. So pillory is literally it's literally enslaving.
Of them.
It's not punishment necessarily, because catastrophic failure, neural degeneration, or loss of containment are not things that Rasputin would that's not something you'd be like, oh well, let's go neurally degrade myself, that's not, or degenerate myself. That's not going to be the process. But in the case of that happening, they have fail safes basically to protect humanity from something of a Skynet like event. Chat's talking about it. So basically it's kind of like rampancy.
Right, but here's my question. You said catastrophic failure, and what were the other two?
Neural degeneration or loss of containment.
Which would be the rampancy, right?
Yes,
and then loss and containment. So loss and containment and the catastrophic failure seem to be, they're slightly different, but I would like for us to go into a little bit more of how they're different, because the idea of rampancy is the breakdown of the neural network because there's too many branches, right? Like it's over processed or
Yeah, they
overdone.
basically it's thinking yourself to death.
Right. So what about the catastrophic failure and the other one?
So
How would you
catastrophic
describe that?
failure would be something like, I don't know, the collapse. Or something in the hardware actually failing, and they're kind of all linked into each other because like a catastrophic failure could lead to neural degeneration, a loss of
Right, but
containment. No, go for it.
that's my question though, because the collapse we saw Rasputin put himself
Loss of
into.
containment, yeah.
Right.
So
So
he
that
basically in a way initiated this process himself, because when you're talking about when he was like and shutting down.
right. But shutting down doesn't mean that he's not contained anymore. It's just that he's not working the way he
He's
should be
he's not working
because
at
of
the optimal efficiency that he could be.
right, but that was because of the plan to come back later, right? It wasn't.
Yeah, and that's where I would argue I don't know if necessarily I don't think it's that he initiated the pillory containment. I think he was trying to
Mhm.
initiate just a sleep mode.
And the
But
pillory happened as a result that because he didn't necessarily know that was going to happen. Like this was
that's my headcanon, is that
okay.
this is probably something that Rasputin probably wasn't aware of.
Sure.
Which, if you're going to make a failsafe for something going insane, that's probably a good plan, is let's not
Right.
make that, aware of it. Yeah, and
Interesting.
that's what chat's kind of talking about. Like, I think that it would fall under either loss of containment or catastrophic failure. You could argue probably also for neural degeneration, just simply because he enacted his morality, like he basically turned off the morality code and let the millions of people die. That could be, easily seen as a war mind neurally degenerating. So, like, I think, but the important thing here is that we do know that the red line protocol was enacted.
Sure.
And so, what the big thing here is the splintering of the war mind occurred, which is why when we reactivated the array and we reconnected some stuff, that was a big moment for Rasputin, because up until that point he had been quarantined in the basically the old Cosmodrome station.
But here's the question.
Mhm.
The quarantine or the partitioning happens within the Clovis facilities, right? Like
It happens
it
within the
says
Clovis
through
stations.
1
Yes.
through 12, right?
Yes.
The array, when we connected him to everything else, that wasn't
That
at
wasn't a
that
station. So what I'm saying is
correct.
that we are still, and this is where it gets really disturbing. We are still probably looking at around 1/12 of Rasputin's computing power.
Right. Which is terrifying.
I mean, that puts into,
But
that.
that's the whole reason we started connecting all the different facilities, like the bunkers. That was the whole point of the bunkers, was reconnecting Rasputin
Yes.
to some of his old
So I mean, like,
oldness.
yeah, I don't think we're like at 1/12. I think we've probably connected a few pieces, but like the thing is, and the second legacy part is the Echo project, and then we'll talk about that too.
Hmm.
The Echo project, in addition to the Pillory and what was it, Red Line Protocol, is basically Clovis Bray building a failsafe contingency if Rasputin were to go off the rails. What would happen? We also learned really cool revelation about where the Exodus project was actually headed in the second part, and like some basics of the plan for colonizing that galaxy that they were originally going to go to. So I'm kind of excited to get to that as well. But
Yeah.
I don't know. That was pretty much the big thing. I know. I can't remember the Uranus. Phil, did we get the name of the Uranus? Yeah, Kalis Station. Okay, so real quick before we jump there, so Kalis is Kalis. There's just an interesting connection that I found here. Kalis is actually the primal god of the sky in Roman myth and theology. The Greek equivalent is Uranus. So Kalis Station, actual Uranus, is the Greek name for Uranus, or the Roman name for the Greek god Uranus. The really fun little tidbit that I found in there is that in mythology, Kalis's consort was Terra, which is Earth. So I found it interesting that the primary Echolink station was Kalis, that they found, and that Clovis Bray was, on Mars/Earth in the EDZ. I just found that there's just like a little, like, it doesn't actually reveal any big thing, but I just thought that was kind of a cool little connection.
Definitely. Are you ready to start this next one? And recognize and realize that the nanites are back.
Yes.
Cool. Do you want to...
The tech mites.
Do you want to read the first part, or do you want me to read the first part?
I can read the first part. That's fine.
Go for it.
So this is Legacy Part 2, Contingency. En route, Uranus, Kalis Station, outer band, location inconclusive. I was able to pull some data from those exo samples. Jinju perches on the cockpit dashboard. 2 tech mites crawl over her shell. Their jump ship plummets through fractalescent polychrome luge, ripping across the sable pitch of space at blistering speed. Anna leans back in her pilot seat, one knee pulled to her chest. She watches strands of shimmer bend around the hull. A bobble owl jiggles along as the ship shivers underneath the Cameron in frame. Hit me. Her eyes turned to Jinju. I couldn't completely narrow it down, but they're definitely from the Golden Age, circa the collapse. Jinju continues. I've been going through the Pillory mainframe download. Those stations are meant to split Rasputin's mind up in the event that he became, insubordinate? That's disgusting. Echo appears to have been a contingency program that activates afterward. They also had a cornerstone schematic of his brain. Light static fuzzes from bubble speakers on Anna's dash. Her helmet hangs on a hook behind her. Rasputin's uplink is offline. Anna chews on the information for a moment. A foundational brain model would help with containment stability after the partitioning process. It's like a front porch for your brain. It goes on, Jinju continues. Your name is cross-referenced all over this, Anna. Neural webway, psycholinguistics, exobrain maps with candidate profiles. Looks like Clovis Bray was syncing Rasputin's basic core with viable hosts. Oh. Anna's mind races. For what, though? Drop him into containment and clone him? Pretty elaborate restart button. I guess with an exo you could also make some pretty potent AI with more limiters than a war mine. Jinju processes. Nothing conclusive here. Anna turns her gaze back to the stars. It would be terrible to be buried like that, trapped in pieces of your own mind. You wouldn't even know who you were anymore, where you start, where other versions of you end. Speaking of the Clovis 9 site, the Clovis 9 site is 78% assimilated into his sovereignty. Jinju distorts her voice as Warmind facsimile. So dramatic about it. Anna brightens as she laughs. You remember how Cameron would always impersonate him? He did not appreciate it, but it was funny. Jinju cheeps slightly. Is she still buried in work from the moon? Hole opened up to the black garden. Pyramid, creepy signals, raining Vex. You think Owl Sector could help themselves from getting involved? I heard rumors through the Ghost Vine about the pyramid. They said it steals your shell, lives there like another you. They said it makes you do things. Jinju pauses. Her iris flicks to Anna's raised eyebrow. Not helping? Let's just change the subject. Jinju squirms awkwardly. You'll see her soon. I know. They're working directly with Ikora. She's safe. I know. Warm tone reassurance trickles into the cabin through Anna's helmet speaker. I know! When did you even get here, Red? Anna aggressively huffs in exasperation. Do you want me to stop or do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, just go ahead and stop there, because there's a few things to unpack in that opening section. So,
Cameron's alive.
Jinju picked up... Yeah, Cameron's alive, confirmation. Cameron's also working on the newest thing, so this is... That's nice. That's nice that is made plain, since everyone was having a heyday with, is she dead? Is she alive? What's going on? Is this love story over? No.
No.
Basically. I love how there's also a little... There's, like, actual lore things in here, but I love how Anna has a bobblehead of an owl on her dashboard.
Like, I heard you like, you're like...
It just reminds me of Wash from Firefly.
Yes, curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal.
Yeah, basically. But then you have like all these different things going on, like the nanites on Jinju, Jinju trying to unpack everything that they found in the original site, and how you get the first little tidbits about how Clovis Bray was attempting to put pieces of Rasputin within echoes or exos, and the Echo project itself was a attempt at making it possible to have an actual, that would be the actual pillory, wouldn't it? That the human or the exo body itself would be the pillory.
Yeah, the pillory, so like Red Line protocol would fire off, and then the Echo project would enact, basically, is what was happening.
Mm-hmm. Poor Anna, though. Like, she just wants to go see Cameron. She just wants to be done with it. And then you have Rasputin, who randomly shows up at the end of this, trying to...
When did you even get here?
Right, like, he's not even supposed to be there.
I like that she aggressively huffs.
Right. But I also like how Rasputin, another humanizing trait, tries to calm her down a little bit, tries to reassure her with his warm tone reassurance trickles into the cabin through Anna's helmet receiver. Okay. Rasputin's trying to... I'm just surprised he didn't do like a little spritz of vanilla into the air, or like lavender or ylang ylang or something. Here's
your pumpkin spice.
Oh my god. No. If I just want the Bungie writers to write pumpkin spice in there. I love how the pineapple thing is still a huge gag.
Pineapple?
Apple? It made it again. Like, it's a second, like, it's a reinforced gag at this point. Like, somebody at Bungie really doesn't like pineapple. Or just doesn't like the naming convention. Anyway. Did you have anything in this opening section?
I did not. No.
Cool. Do you want me to take on the next section?
Go for it.
Tech mites traverse Jinju like a jungle gem. One dangles precariously from a shell flap. Guess who's there, too? How do you know this, and I don't? Ghost fine. It's Eris Morn. She's working with the Guardian. Eris? Anna scoffs. She's not much of a conversationalist, so the two of them should get along just fine. She gestures to the mites. Do you really want those crawling all over you? Their names are Foe and Diem, and I love them. Jinju coddles her mites. Besides, it's like Cam's with us in spirit, right? Anna chuckles and scratches her brow before raising a fist in solidarity. She is, to the brim. The shimmer surrounding the jump ship jitters before abruptly smashing into empty space. Anna leans forward and looks out into the void. Where's the planet? She slowly rolls her head around the cockpit. They drift through space on placid waves of nothing toward a distant nowhere. The vast luminous twinkle of the Milky Way plays out in the panorama. Through gloom-speckled pinholes prick gaps in the starry sea, the absence from them directly apparent to Anna's eye, like rays of darkness from a black sun through sheer cosmic sheet. Jinju perks up, internal sensors suddenly askew. Something nabbed us right out of our jump. We're off course by, Jinju calculates, 3 AU? What? Anna manually scans the trajectory equations in the nav computer. There's nothing wrong with the math. Jump drive error, misalignment, squawks on bubble speakers. Little late. Tart synthetic tickle creeps red and patient, low and pressing, as not to be heard by those that might be listening. Relax, I know we're off course, but it's not that far, relatively speaking. Anna scrunches her face at a nav screen as it's overtaken by interference. Okay, I can't see where we are. Hang on. A slow wrinkle skulks across space. It presses up the fabric. Insignificant points between stars warp and spur small disturbances in the constellational congruence of the galaxy. From afar, it's nothing. A flutter of wings in the wind. It's dark out here. Jinju's voice is distant as she peers outside, beyond the canopy, an expanse without horizon. That's when the stars shine brightest, Jinju. Find a constellation for me so we can get our bearings. Gravitational wave anomaly detected. Jump realignment required. Way ahead of you, ship. Anna checks jump vectors and flicks through alignment procedures. MAV thrusters sputter to orient the ship towards Sol. Anna test cycles the jump drive. It revs, then chokes before locking. Gravitational wave anomaly detected. Jump hazard. Location inconclusive. Clear hazard. Okay, that's not comforting to hear. Anna deploys a sensory buoy from the ship. Rasputin stings and pricks red iron. Steady pressure, with localized insistence. Feels strange. Jinju is distant. We should go. Anna initiates recalibrations on the jump ship's drive positioning solution. There's definitely some weird space out here. Gravitational wave anomaly detective. The ship lurches. Anna's stomach churns. Jinju vibrates violently in place, an outer shell of light absorbing some form of force. Red iron needles whistled tea kettle pressure and white anxiety from Anna's helmet. Cloaked shadows shift through the vacuum, an eternity away and all too close, shown only when they wish to only whom they want. Anna swallows to settle her stomach. What even was that? Did we move? Leave. Now, please, Anna. Jinju presses against the glass of the canopy, peering outward. System realignment solution secured. There it is, I've got jump lock. Gravitational wave anomaly detected. Again? Then we're writing this one out of here. Anna eyeballs adjustments for the gravitational wave into the nav computer. Punching jump in 3, 2, 1. They slip between folds in space. Formless wake propels them. The ship rides through subspace at speeds far exceeding her jump drive's capability. Color dulls in the slipstream. Frisson electrifies Anna's senses into timeless euphoria. The nose of the cockpit stretches ahead, drawn towards some distant vanishing point. She struggles to keep the flight stick straight. Her motion seems small, inconsequential, and all too slow within the wave. Fluctuant pockets of drag, flex and buck, threatening to throw them off into the unknown. The cockpit twists around her. Indicator lights blink in metronomic sequence. Purpose and pigment slowly materializing in her mind. Hull integrity failing. Not yet. Collision. Bow, celestial body detected. Auto drop failed. Anna steadies her mind. She force cancels the jump, seizing the drive and jumping them out into the space before thrusters burn to steady them again. Their emergence is dwarfed by a stratospheric colossus. Uranus hangs, a daiquiri pearl set in tilted rings. A grin overtakes Anna's face. Nailed it! I'm gonna stop there. Oh man. Anna is cocky, but she kind of has a right to be.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, though, Jinju's freaking out, and so is Rasputin. Like, Rasputin's not very happy about what's going on either. And then just Anna basically Luke Skywalkering her way out of that situation. Like, not kidding, that was a direct... That was the first thing I thought when I read that, was that she used the Force. Do you have anything on that section, Jay?
So Foe and Diem, I think, are just callbacks to the moons Phobos and Deimos. It's really the only thing I could get on that.
Yeah.
We do. You already mentioned, we got the confirmation for Cameron. Oh, the AU. So that's an astronomical unit. That's actually really big. So when you're talking about 3 AU, that's a pretty significant what are you doing here moment, which is why there was a bit of surprise there. So a 3 AU or 1 AU is the approximate distance between Earth and the Sun. So,
oh man.
So
okay.
It's in regards to like the galaxy, it's not that huge, but
sure.
Yeah, Black Flag is in chat. It's like it's nearly 30 trillion miles. Like, it's a big difference. So now, that being said, that is showing, the reality of calculations within space. I mean, that is just the distance, the average distance between things is immense. It's like it's mind-boggling how much empty space is in actual space. So
we have a call out to something that we've seen before too within this section, right? Like, you have the gravitational anomaly.
Mm-hmm.
You remember how we had that exact same call out happen with Exodus Black
and Osiris.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the thing that a lot of people are thinking, that this is how Rasputin knew when Osiris will later come and talk to him. This is how he knew about the anomaly to send him out here.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, it also explains why she's off, why their calculations were off, because if it is a gravitational anomaly, that will mess with calculations.
Sure.
And so that's where you can get disjointed on those calculations.
Well, Jinju just was not... I mean, it's not explicitly said that it is a pyramid ship causing this interference.
Correct.
It's inferred with the reaction that Jinju tends to have to it, just because of the ghost freaking out. And granted, Jinju has had these ghost stories being told, and you get that call out, like, the spookiness of the pyramids. It could take you shell, and it could just, it's like ghost stories, like a literal ghost story for our ghost. And maybe Jinju just freaking himself out. Herself out. But
yeah. I think that's part of it, but it also could. I mean, there's also some truth in those fears as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay. So, to move on, pale blue gleam.
Inundates.
That word. Inundates. Thank you. Pale blue gleam inundates the canopy with planetary light. Anna plots an approach to the station. The trio slow burn forward, each silently collecting their faculties. Ahead, tiny beacons blip red. Satellite silhouettes take form out of the planet's zealous glare. Instrument spokes jut from their polygonal chassis like old war depth charges, itching to trigger. Those are warsats. Jinju breaks the silence, eager to shift her mode of thought far from weird space and gravity waves. Finally, some luck, Anna says with relief. I bet we can daisy chain Rasputin into the station's network through the defense system. Oh, they're powering up. Maybe we... Horns of responsive distortion roll across the cabin like a stress wave. Rasputin's alert pings litter the canopy. HUD. Brace! Anna pushes hard on the flight stick and reflexively dives into under a barrage of laser fire. Nose thrusters roar vibration through her hands as she cuts to guide the ship vertical and tumbles into a barrel roll, slipping around follow-up burst. A bolt skims shallow across her starboard side. Ricochet. Shockwave tremors reverberate through the hull. Red, ping all incoming fire vectors. Jinju, arm the spikes. Plates split open along the belly of the ship. A drum launcher of 6 war spikes rolls out as Jinju links into the launcher's gunnery apparatus. Indicators blare onto the canopy HUD. Jinju sends 2 war spikes straight into the first of 15. First of 15 warsats blocking their path as Anna nudges the ship between incoming laser burst. 2 spiked warsats cease fire as their automated defense protocols are overridden. Security software utterly failing to halt Rasputin's invasive assimilation. They come back online, spikes blending into spokes, and swivel to gun down the closest still hostile targets. The assimilated twin warsats thrust to reposition it into a shield for Anna and Jinju as they close distance. Crimson flare shines around the warsat shield as lasers chisel into them. Anna watches HUD pings for an opening between incoming burst. She finds half a moment and burns hard on the main engine, then toggles full power to maneuvering thrusters to sling the ship under Rasputin's shield and open a lane for Jinju. Jinju unleashes 4 more spikes. They strike true. Rasputin spreads digital plague through the warsat's frameworks with each skewering hit. He demands subservience. Laser fire tears through space in all directions as Anna cuts between dueling satellites and rolls to evade overlapping firing arcs. Concussive shock waves rattle the ship as defiant warsats explode or fail one by one until the firing stops. A field of deputized warsats and debris dead drift within the planet's orbital current, backlit by radiant mesoplagic glow. Beyond them, almost lost among cloud cream atmosphere, Kalis Station. Anna releases her breath. It feels like she had been holding it since the jump. She forces short gulps of air into her aching lungs and lets her ship glide toward the station without guidance. Jinju emerges from the gunnery apparatus and floats back to the dashboard. Foe and Diem appear from under her shell. What was that, Anna, back there? The warsats or the freaky gravity? Either? Both. Your guess is as good as mine. My guess worries me. Let's just pull this data and get home. Agreed. Anna hangs her head in her hands and muffles a sardonic. Nailed it. Oh my goodness. So, more Star Wars-esque air battle.
Do
with
a
Jinju,
barrel roll!
Right? Like Star Fox throw in there, do a barrel roll. Jinju is Chewie jumping into the gunnery station, trying to take out the warsat.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Mm-hmm. And then you have Rasputin basically taking over all the different ships.
I love that mental image of Rasputin just like hacking all the warsats. Like
He'd have to. Oh my gosh.
Well, I just love the way they described it as like, what was it, like spreads digital plague. I'm like, oh, it's just like that mental image is just so great.
If you scroll back up a little bit, it talks about how they have to release something. What was it? They had to release something out there for Rasputin to grab a hold of the various warsats.
The spikes. Yeah, so they're actual
Yeah.
like wireless. Basically, they're like sending in a it's like a wireless receiver that they're allowing him to actually get into.
Pretty cool. Pretty disturbing too. That Rasputin's own warsats were firing on them. Even though Rasputin didn't actually have control over any of them.
What's
He
a good
demands
chat?
subservience.
What's a good way to describe Rasputin uploading a Trojan? It's so true though. I love it.
True. All right, Blue. You're running strikes now, aren't you?
Yep. Of course, I keep getting guitared. So
weird.
yeah.
I haven't had a guitar error in a long time.
We'll see if I can survive this one. But let's talk about Caelus.
Caelus Station. Yes. You want me to go ahead and read it, or do you want to do a preface to this?
Go ahead and read it. I think most of my takeaway is going to probably be at the very end after all the insanity. I really like Caelus Station, as tragic as the events are. I will plug that again. This is something that you definitely should go back and read a couple times, because this is something that like you get something new out of it every time. I think I've read it like 4 or 5 times at this point, and I keep getting different snippets out of it.
Yep. All right. Caelus Station. Dim and powerless, it gently falls. The label grows at pace with Anna's measured approach. Rasputin's cohort of warsats encircle her in a defensive phalanx. The station rotates to face the planet. It glitters in gas giant grandeur as massive translucent hull plates display a desolate gut shrouded in sea foam reflection. Jinju combs through the station blueprints, pouring in from the warsat data stores. Caelus consists of one long shaft containing a launch bay and spindly communications array at either end. Deeper, past the launch bays, mostly maintenance frame space cap stoned by a large reinforced mainframe, housing complete with a thick glass viewing ceiling. Orbiting ringlets indicated as biomes 1, 2, and 3 spin lazily in unison with the central structure, held in position by maglock padlocks that align with metallic rungs set into the station's hub outer plating. Jinju locates several unpowdered docking points before settling on entering through one of the station bays. She snaps a HUD ping on the canopy. Here. This one's open, though it doesn't look like anything but the outer rings are still pressurized. Ready for a spacewalk? Anna guides them to the bay, catching sight of the transparent interior solar glass paneling of the rotating ringlets. Clean river slosh along the outer rings underneath a dividing sieve. Earth and dirt sprouts abundance above. Are those greenhouses? I think so. Everything seems to be locked under a file name contingency. That's not ominous, Anna says, scooping her helmet from its hook and swiping 18 kelvins from a footlocker. We need mainframe access. When do we not? Anna looks at the dark station. It is a grave of potential awaiting the next planet rise. It is a grave of potential awaiting the next planet rise. Jinju prepares Anna's bandolier. Mites patiently tap pinned legs as they wait for attention. Anna dons her helmet and puts a hand on the canopy release pulley. You're not bringing those, are you? And this is actually a different section, real quick. The bay is still, a snapshot of countless possible failures in the face of challenge. It holds only one ship, The bulbous craft lay broken, dropped from its support brackets in denial of an attempted launch. Reflective hexagonal plates sparkle like space dust as the station faces Uranus light. Scorched stains blacken the far wall behind the craft's ruined ion thruster. The propulsion system is missing on its ion cell. It doesn't look like damage, but obviously a lot went wrong here. Jinju beams light over the fuselage as they float through the ruptured bay in weightlessness. The reflective hull is filled with exos, mannequin cadavers hung frozen on silk threads, surrounded by globular blobs of various fluids. Loose wire tangles sag around lifeless many. One or two glides freely within the cabin. Their chest plates share a pristine logo. Echo 1. Anna locates a crumpled worker frame beside the bay's internal airlock and signals Jinju to come over. Jinju puffs towards Anna on pulses of light. Remnants and dust hold motionless in the vacuum. Their groupings jostled and drawn to each other since the bay's collapse, formed tiny gravitational microcosms, a new faux system trapped in the failed husk of a past age. She flicks her helmet microphone on. Hey, what about just normal frame access? The ghost sweeps the frame and gets to work. This isn't just some mop bot. This is the station manager. Let's get it inside. Anna props a foot on the wall and forces the airlock closed behind them. Mag boots clink to tile, dust floor. Echoing groans and humid tastes populate the station. Even through her respirator, the stale flavors of plant matter and dirt coat Anna's tongue in grist-like film. She turns to Jinju, busy at work, splicing bad connections within the frame and spinning light to charge his power unit. It'll work, but this unit won't hold power. It'll only last as long as I can charge it. You're a miracle worker, Jinju. Jinju cheeps. She solders a loose line. It should also be a little more talkative. Anna peers down the hall from their current position. The airlock functions like an estuary flowing into the rest of the station. She could almost see clear into the central mainframe hub atop a raised panel fortification in the middle of the room. It sits below a ceiling of translucent plates rimmed in distant ringlet halos falling under shadow. A stairway aligned with the launch bays on either side provides access. The frame sparks to life, looks directly at Anna, and speaks with grating age to its voice. Welcome, Anna Bray. Very excited to see a Bray walk this hull again. It has been a long time. Anna grasps at words. Jinju shrugs, plugs of light toss in 0G. The frame stands on magnetized foot cups and dusts itself off, nearly bumping into Jinju. Excuse me, small servobot. The frame turns to Anna. How may I be of assistance? I'll unplug you. The frame ignores her. Anna smirks at Jinju, then looks at the frame. Walk with me, she says, briskly moving deeper into the station. The two converse with Jinju in tow. The main section of the station is wide open hall, supported by struts. In large red lettering, the words, Echo Project, Our Legacy Builds the Horizon. Dozens of maintenance frame plates line the floor, some open, some semi-raised with collapsed frames, steps away from half responding to a catastrophe, a scene in disorder. Zilch on Atlas. And I'm going to stop right there, mainly because I need a mouth break, because it becomes a bit of a tongue twister after a while.
It does. It really does. Like, I really like the writing, but there are some very, very hefty phrases. I also love that Jinju is a server bot.
Right. Like,
excuse me, small service droid. Service bot.
The thing okay, so not to go spin foil on us, but the fact that something from the Golden Age recognizes it as a service bot really, really gets under my skin a bit.
Now,
not gonna lie.
Now, to play devil's advocate, it could just be that it is assuming that.
Oh, sure. I'm sure. It's just one of those things, like it could lead that direction.
Oh yeah. Yes.
But the fact that it's not the station manager is not surprised to see Anna at all, which doesn't seem to be super surprising considering what we're going to get here in a little bit. But it's not Atlas. The description of this location seems like what we had on Titan, but in space. You know, the biomes and everything.
Yeah, I'm curious what your like the design. I would love to see like a concept art of this station, to be fair, because there's so many different ways that it could come across, you know? Um
I unfortunately have the Halo rings in mind when I'm reading this.
so that's not entirely inaccurate. Like I think that's the
Right.
thing is like there but see like there's a lot of different ways that rings could to circulate
Sure.
a station, and with the concept of like maglocks and stuff, that like there's a lot of different options. Like so I would just be curious what was actually the intent like of the design. I think that would be really cool to see, like just from a aesthetic standpoint. Um,
Yeah.
Not that we will
I,
probably ever see this because it is, well, we'll get to it.
well, yeah, we might see pieces of it. Spoiler.
Spoiler.
Uh, Anna stares out the translucent ceiling, wistful as the frame waits for another question. So those crops in the rings are food supplies for a colony mission? Yes, thank you for asking that, Anna Bray. Yeah, and the colony ships are full of exos. Partially. Echo 1 and Echo 2 were stocked with exo crew units. As you know, their task was to establish and oversee embryonic development at Colony M31, Site A and Site B. If Rasputin got out of hand, they weren't planning on resetting him. I don't have access to Clovis 1 through 12 directories. They just assumed he would win? The pillory is a last-ditch panic room. I don't have access to Clovis 1 through 12 directories. Jinju's iris flicks back and forth between the two. Her tiny light leash hums. Anna... Sorry, that image just blows my mind. It's the fact that Jinju has a leash.
Well, she's leashed to the
Yeah, the frame,
station
so it
manager.
stays powered. Just like walking a dog.
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
Okay. Jinju's iris flicks back and forth between the two. Her tiny light leash hums. Anna massages her palm. What was my role in all of this? As you know, your work on the War Mine made you a prime asset to oversee applicant selection. I chose the people in there? Anna watches the ringlet spin, her mind repeating the statement back to her. Artificial night slips back to artificial day as the station rotation continues. As you know, yes. Additionally, your work on the War Mine, as you know, was vital to the establishment of Clovis 1 through 12. Do I know where the candidates came from? Did they volunteer? I do not have access to candidate profiles. Anna shuts her eyes and takes a steady breath. You said I helped with the pillory stations. Yes. How so? I don't have access to Clovis 1 through 12 directories. She nods and lets her helmet slink back to rest on her shoulders. I think I can piece it together on my own. Is this station linked to any other sites? Her gaze returns to the distant ringlet lit by the recurring planet rise. Her augmented eyes pick at details. As you know, Miss Bray, there are 13 Clovis sites that this station is linked to. 13? What's the 13th? The plant life is still vibrant, regimented. Paragon access does not permit that information. You hear that, Jinju? We're all just slaves to circumstance. Jinju chirps. I'd like to think our choices mattered a little. I'd like to think mine did. Hannah smiles at her. Yeah. You're a bray. The frame pauses. They lack signs of overgrowth. Well kept. So, Anna turns to the frame. Echo Project requires the station link with dead rock resources. Anna's eyes go wide. Jinju disengaged that cipher thing. Over her shoulder, a glint shines from the far central ringlet, Biome 2. Jinju glides forward. What is that? Anna looks at Jinju, the verbal cipher. She pauses and traces Jinju's eyeline to face Uranus. Anna's eyes adjust to sieve out the glaring brightness. What's that? She puts her hand to her visor and squints. An ion lance threads the station from the distant ringlet. It pierces Anna's chest, clean through. Brick-stained atmosphere hisses out of her suit, searing on smoldering fabric fringe. Jinju's iris widens with confused shock. Howling storm slams salt-coarse keys in Anna's helmet. End. All right. Lot to unpack there, right?
Mm-hmm. It's about
I'm going to
to
let
get
you go
good.
first. I mean, it is good already.
So M31 is actually, as far as I can tell, a reference to the Andromeda Galaxy, which is about 2.5 million light years away from our galaxy, but it is actually the closest one to us. So we were actually looking at intergalactical travel at this point. Chat. I'm not sure what sites A and B are referring to. There's no I don't think there was a specific call out there. I think it's literally just, in the Andromeda Galaxy, what is the planet, planet A, planet B, or whatever. But this is the Exodus project. This is the entire plan, was to have embryonic samples sent, and then a team, two or multiple teams of exos would be present because they are exos. They are not susceptible to aging. And so they would be able to build out the infrastructure, and they would probably be in tandem with, nanite technology such as SIFA or whatnot. So that's what
the difference
that is.
With this one, though, this was the failsafe.
Correct. This is a slightly different Exodus project than what I would consider the civilian Exodus project.
Mm-hmm. Because the civilian-based one was similar to, not the same, but similar to what Mara went through on the Amrita, right? Like that was
the Yangli Way.
Not Yangli Way, but the Amrita project or the Amrita charter was the civilian side of it. And
correct. And I get the sense that this was because it's mentioned that Anna selected them.
Yes.
Which has its own interesting implications.
Yeah, kind of scary.
What?
Kind of
Eugenics?
scary. And something that Dino pulled up in chat, and this is one of the things that reminded me of when I was reading it, is that Anna has Paragon level of clearance, but she doesn't have the level of clearance that's needed to get all the information.
I took it as the station manager didn't have the information.
Right. But I don't think she has the level of clearance to get that information, because there were things that the frame would say that I don't know. The frame says that multiple times. Like, I do not have access to that information. Mm-hmm. But when she asks, and I'm trying to find it again.
Yeah, I'm looking. She said, or it says, I don't have access to Clovis 1 through 12 directories, blah, blah, blah. As you know, I do not have access to candidate profiles. I don't have access.
Oh, it's the 13th. The 13th,
13th location.
That's what it won't tell her.
That is interesting. Yeah.
Makes you wonder what good old Clovis was
I'm also
up to,
curious, what's the dead rock resources?
I mean, a dead rock is the considered. It's a turn of phrase for a planet that doesn't have any life.
Yes. But I mean, like, that's actually an outstanding question I have. Is I don't know what the dead rock resources are. I couldn't quite figure that one out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Dino's talking about this is the differences here is that whereas other Exodus crews or Exodus projects were human crews with
Cryopods.
cryopods, this is embryonic samples with multiple exo crews.
Right.
So
But
this is
was
a
only
literal arc scenario.
right. It's a seeding project.
Mm-hmm. Which is interesting because the connection to the Awoken, Clovis is trying to become the equivalent of a creator and seed like creationism, and then you have the Amrita situation where they literally
They
create
accidentally,
themselves. They
yeah, they
accidentally
stumble upon
become
it.
gods in and of themselves.
Well, just within the distributary.
Right. But I mean, I find that parallel kind of interesting because, like, you have the reference to the Sisyphus project with Clovis
Right.
Bray. Clovis Bray is, obvious. He's got the obvious narcissistic tendencies and all that stuff, and then like the call out for the exos being like someone just didn't want to die. Basically, I find the parallels with him and the Awoken situation very interesting.
Yeah. The Dead Rocks thing is something I'm interested in as well. I think the Dead Rock in specific is related to the station in and of itself. Because of what I'm gonna read through next, right?
Okay. So you think the dead? Okay, I gotcha. I'm. So
So you have
that rifle shot that just happened.
Acrimony, Echo 1, Callus Station, collapse. Dead Rock seizure in action. Station manager initiate manual override in Echo 1 launch bay. Alert. This station is experiencing power fluctuations, flower punctuations, because that is how I'm going to talk right now. Alert. This station is experiencing power fluctuations. Emergency power will run until Echo 0. He awakens alone, a fluke. Others hang around him, but they remain in the dream. Electrical surge prickles through his entire body. A screen in front of his face begins playing a recorded complete with visual aid. Welcome to Echo 1. Before your departure, you should have been briefed by a station warden. If you don't recall your station warden, please alert your crew captain. Now then, my name is Anna Bray, and you're one of the lucky few who has been selected for the Echo Project. The future of humanity rests on your shoulders. The recording is interrupted as emergency sirens blare through the station. Station hazards, gravitational anomaly, sterile neutrino burst. Please remain calm. Override broadcast via Echo Link. Pillory sublock RR Skyshock alert. Transient near extrasolar event. Power failures rack the station in rolling thunder. The Exo slumps, lifeless, until its next reset. Echo 7. Alone. The recording. He finds familiarity in the newness. The face on the screen seems kind. Station hazards, rolling surges in wards 1, 2, 3. Please remain calm. Thunder. Pain to death. Electrostatic purge, triggering a reset. Echo 22. He awakens to rolling, thunderous darkness, and pain. The screen does not illuminate. Barely audible words form from the air. Primary propulsion systems failing. Auxiliary systems near depletion. Planetary impact unavoidable. Distress triggered. Meaningless. He struggles against chains. Eons passed. His bonds will not break. His mind fragments and corrupts. He wishes he could bleed. He wishes he could die. He wonders where the wardens are. Echo 41. Short lives of confusion and pain. He grasps at falling in every direction. There is nothing to grip. Echo 89. Thunder again. Echo 173. And again. Echo 390. Until one day, he hangs in the futile passage of time. The creeping madness weaves its way in solitude. Echo 877. Thunder. 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 The warden speaks for the first time in many storms. Her twisted promises are fresh to his ear. When we return, etched in mind. Wake and sleep. Struggle, dream and wake. Struggle, endless, innumerable stillbursts, tomb spasms, thunderous pain, sweet death. Echo 2625. Thunder, one final time. The storm gives life, but never came to take. He slips from wrought shackles, worn with age, weary, they snap at slightest motion. Untold rotations pass without movement. Freedom. He matures questions. A hunger wells up within him. He travels the stations, from Tomb Bay to the mine shell, to the sealed space, in dark and in light. The mine shell teaches him the new roads, teaches him the majesty of the rings, teaches him the keys. He walks the rings. He tends to his little freedoms. He cultivates. He grows. He does unknowingly as he was meant to do. The mine shell tells him of the bridge, tells him of his ancestors, speaks of the echo link. The knowledge does not leave him thoughts. He seeks a meaning beyond routine. The tomb bay kept secrets. He had not returned since he walked the rings. It is a shallow sepulchre. Brothers and sisters dreaming, never to wake as he had. He digs treasures from their graves, digs knowledge from the prisons of many minds, picks lies from the bones of truth. He drinks the memories of echoes past. He finds the prison's purpose, a bridge's end. If he holds this end, perhaps the wardens hold the other. The many minds, the liar's words, takers, they would know of his escape. The wardens would come to take the fresh shackles. He prepares, he learns from the warden's alchemy. He digs through the carcass of his once mighty tomb. From hollow basin he seizes starlight power to wield from afar. From its flesh he adorns himself with a cloak of lies to fool. He armors his soul against the thunder that kills. He opens the bridge at the end and waits. Echo 2625, present day. He walks the ring when she arrives. The warden rides in with finality and judgment. A red light storm at her back. She had followed the bridge, as he had hoped. She leads many shells, but only one descends with her. She brings her the thunder, and he fears its wicked spark. He places trust to his plated frame. He watches her trespass in the tomb bay, sees her defile the mine shell's grand hall. The wardens reap what he has been sown. As wardens always do, she comes to collect him. He raises his starlight. But a warden is not so easily slain, and she has many allies. End. Hi.
So, to put it in perspective, the safe reset number is 20.
And something that you guys can't see unless you read this is that once he gets up into the 2000s, the lettering is that very strange, where it has the vertical symbols attached to the numbers, where it basically, it's really, I don't even know what that language is called, Like when it's basically there's a secondary language overlapping it.
Mm-hmm.
It's super intense. I don't even know if it'll show up in chat when I put it in there. Oh, it does. There we go. That numbering system that happens once he gets into the 2000 rank. And he's learned to harness starlight, which is, I don't know how to process that because there's no.
Well, I guess my question there
really
is like,
that.
Is it actual starlight or is that just what he calls the linear fusion rifle that he's using?
A linear fusion rifle that shoots from across the ring, like.
I mean, it's a sniper rifle.
Yeah, through space. I don't know.
Space is a vacuum.
Fair.
Oh yeah, I guess my thought is like I was thinking like that was his interpretation of what he was doing, because like when he's got active camouflage first off, which I am kind of jealous.
It's alien, or no, predator.
Yeah, which oh my gosh, I think it was Black Flag is sitting here going, Waylon, you tiny. Yeah. I'm like, you're not wrong.
That's what didn't Deej actually
there he goes again
at one point.
There he goes. What?
Deej called that out at one point when we first started learning more about Clovis Bray.
Yeah.
That was one of the corporations he named.
Yeah, it's not a surprise.
Yeah. Anything else
for those who don't know, Weyland Yutani is Aliens and Predator is the corporation that is constantly behind the really dumb decisions that humans make because they're trying to profit off alien technology.
Basically, though I don't know, I guess technically the Traveler would be alien technology.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's insight into the fact that this Echo, who is driven mad by many resets. I'm curious what the thunder is.
I think it's literally electrical surges.
So basically, the station surges, so he turns on.
I think it might be like a fail because like it started off with it calling out the fact that it was an error, like it was a fluke. But I think the other thing is we have references to the station, falling, and so there's something going on that the station, Kayla's station, is not doing so hot for itself right now. And I think that might be part of what they're hearing is now that is just, one theory. It could actually be, he could hear the station groaning, or whatever. I mean, I think there's a lot of potential there.
Fair.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to call out on this
Dino's kind of saying that too, is like, it seems to me, it sounds like it was a damage that was during the collapse, basically. And it's
that caused it to surge over and over?
Well, no, that damaged the station, which then caused the station to kind of lose its gravitational alignment. And so now the station is, all jacked up. But we also, I mean, the only, it's not even an argument. The only thing that I would also point out is that we know that the Echo, as soon as the red line protocol for Pillory goes into effect, we know that the Echo program basically kicks off. So there is the possibility too that whatever Rasputin did to initiate the red line protocol is kind of at fault here as well.
Okay.
Is my only other thought for why Echo got initiated.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad for the most part. It's very sad. But I'm glad there's only one.
Oh God, yes.
echo to deal with versus what could be hundreds that we know of. Like there's only one that's been up and awake and moving around and tending essentially to the garden in the biosphere, which explains why everything is doing so well in there. It's because he's been working on it.
Yes.
All right. Now let's see what happened to Anna. Callus Station, orbit. This is a descendant. She is submerged. Light sways just above a tense surface. Something far below stirs. The light brightens to blind. Rasputin weeps a terrible cacophony of anguish. Anna gasps for breath. Her head swims in effort. Hypoxia. Blood oxygen level 73%. Hold still. Your suit is leaking. Jinju quickens light into Anna's punctured suit, her iris jittering from spot to spot as oxygen spurts around her in foggy clouds. Anna shakes dizziness out of her head. A smoldering frame is sprawled a few meters away. She drops flat to a support beam that runs up to the mainframe office. I got shot. The realization doubles back. I got shot? Anna pats her chest and stiffens. She draws in a shallow breath. Jinju, did you see where it came from? Central ring. I dragged you into cover. Stop moving so much. Anna peeks around the strut. An ion thread zips by and stings her helmet. Rasputin obliterates every square inch of ringlet within 10 meters of the ion beam's origin and response. Sections of central ringlet combust and explode under heavy bombardment. The ring buckles, splitting along the seams and splaying out into space. Magnetic anchors fail as the halo fractures and splits away from the station's central architecture. Fragments rush away towards the planet. Caelus ruin falls into Uranus in lingering political consummation. Rasputin, stop! Laser fire halts immediately. You're gonna sink the whole station. Tense finger waits on hair trigger. Anna works her starving lungs. Hypoxemia. Blood oxygen level 67%. Anna, you need to stop breathing so much. Jinju bobs with Anna's head and quickly reseals her visor. Can't hold still. Anna shakily stands and points up at the dislodged ringlet spinning above her. Bad angle. I'm pretty sure whatever shot you was dead. Stop talking. You're getting delirious. Wreckage looms far over Anna's shoulder. The remaining two halos slowly spin in ignorance through their siblings' burial dust cloud. Eerie distortion soars across the divide between stations and rings. The veneer of invisibility momentarily lost in flight as Rebel collides with its form. Rasputin perceives the abnormality. Harmonic chimes across Anna's visor resonate and combine into uniform pattern homogeny. Active camouflage. Anna sucks thin atmosphere in a wheezing undertone to her breath. Jinju, give me an auditory visualizer. Jinju whirs and dips back into Anna's suit, compiling an interface. Now hold still. Hypoxemia, blood oxygen level 65%. A ceiling panel 20 meters from Anna erupts in brittle plastic shards that glisten and spin like tiny neutron stars, catching the last of Uranus's light as the station beings turn dark. Amorphous form thuds into the floor, shattering tiles in a plume of dust that stretches up into a spire before slowly holding its place. The form tumbles to a stop. It stands between her and the open launch bay and slings a kit-bashed iron caster aside, depleted. Hexagonal patterns stutter to blend with the station interior as the room rolls in tenebrous obscurity. For an instant, an exo takes form, and then nothing as its cloaking shrouds flashes and re-engages in the dark. Anna doesn't wait. She rushes heavy clunking boots up the stairs to the mainframe. A rhythmic tremors beat through her heart. Jinju deactivates the switch on Anna's mag boots and hurls her through the door with a forceful push of light. She speeds in behind Anna, finishing her suit with light stitched with light stitch as Anna slams the door shut. Anna, hang in there. Jinju orients Anna and reactivates her mag boots. Anna's feet plump to the floor. She hangs from them, a loose timber bending in the wind. Jinju finishes her patch job. New fabric seals airtight. You're good. You're good. Don't pass out. Your suit is reoxygenating. Hypoxemia. Blood oxygen level 59%. Stabilizing. The words are intensely bright on her visor, against the darkening room. Auditory overlay complete. Check your visor. Jinju's voice focuses her. I just need a minute. Anna speaks between gulps of air. An unsteady hand draws 18 kelvins. The mainframe room orients her more, clearly with each breath. It is stark. A large, lone desk of singular oak commands the center of the room. A console screen, dead, is embedded in the surface. Rasputin drops potential estimation pings into her HUD in an attempt to track her assailant. She steps backward, away from the door she had entered, through and toward the opposing stairway door. Her eyes pick up faint quivers from outside. Indirect. Resonant white noise pings like interference on her visor. She focuses on each occurrence, looking for a note out of rhythm. Behind. She spins as the exo crashes through the secondary entrance at her back. The door snaps from its hinges in a torrent of dust and rackets Jinju into glass. Jinju! Anna loses track of her attacker momentarily in the darkness before it pushes off from a hard surface, triggering her visor. She spits off rounds from 18 kelvins. Some find their mark, puncturing the camouflage shroud and revealing her adversary before impotently fizzing on the exo's outer shell. It covers the gap with surprising speed and catches her gun hand. Anna discharges an arc round, tiny bolts reach across to the exo's metal skull and vein as it scorches ceiling. Bones pop in her fingers and wrist. Hypoxemia, blood oxygen 68%. Stabilizing. The exo flattens its other hand and stabs towards her stomach. Die, Warden. Adrenaline instinct floods Anna's body. She stops it. They lock. Anna's vision blurs. She gasps for breath. Muscles quiver in her arms, desperate for oxygen. A spark cinders in her. Get off of her. Jinju zips towards the exo and paddles foe and DM onto it with a flick of her shell. The mites crawl under the exo's exterior plating and send shock sting bites through its system, seizing its joints for a few precious seconds. Jinju rushes to Anna's side. The ghost deconstructs itself, orbital shell bits swirling around a core of coalescing light. She fills the room like a brilliant star, overcharging her wayward guardian. Anna's crushed bone reforges. Light fills her eyes. Her grip, still holding against the seizing exo's blade thrust, liquefies its plated hand to scrap. A glorious crown of solar flame erupts from her visor, and she cracks her forehead into the exo's face. It reels, tufts of flame extinguish in the vacuum. Anna kicks away. Solar might engulfs 18 kelvins. Anna hammers off 2 rounds of celestial annihilation. They melt straight through the exo, puncture the station plating, and scream through space for light years. The exo slumps, a molten heap. It draws breath. Resilient. Anna drops to a knee, barrel trained on the exo's head. She takes a full breath. The exo's eyes are unflinchingly locked to her. It refuses to die. It points to Anna's badge with its still blistering hand. Bray, Warden. She says the only thing she can think to say. Who were you? It hesitates. Echoes. Her head drops, or her head droops. How many did you live? She looks to find his number designation, but it's missing. He looks past her at Uranus's light once again, trickles through the station. Echoes. Grow. Wardens. Keep. What did I do to them? All right, stopping there. So Anna's a BAMF. Thanks to Jinju.
Get off her!
Foe and Deem are pretty good too.
Yeah, I think it's funny how they basically go in there like chiggers.
Freaking
Get
chiggers.
it right? Like they get under your skin and they just annoy the snot out of you.
Disable your active camouflage. You know.
Yeah, that too.
I hate chiggers.
Black Flag's. Yeah, I do too. Black Flag's calling me out. She is that as well, but she can be. You can be a basic as well as be kind of a BAMF at the same time. Like Anna's got skills, but also this
It's
is
got
kind
skills.
of a. Well, I mean, you remember that old mission back in D1 where we would go to the different points of light? Was it in D1? Oh, it was on Twilight Gap, and it
Oh,
was this
yeah.
story.
Of how she used to fire and left boiling pools of light.
Yeah. So that's what I imagine this is, like a recreation of that. But maybe turned up even more.
Yeah, because it's panic.
Well, there's panic, but there's also like Jinju just overcharges her, which begs the question, why aren't we getting overcharged every time we fight a god? Just a question.
Green
Just
has
a
questions.
like I would like to be overcharged like this, where I shoot a golden gun and it goes through a space station and through light years away. Like, that is massive.
Yeah, just a bit. It'd probably be
bit.
useful from time to time.
Just a bit. Ay vey. All right. Do you have anything else for that section about that
No,
echo?
I mean, like, again, the average that's advised by Clovis Bray on resets is 20. And this thing is still walking at 2,600 plus. So, I mean, it's, I don't know, like, it's tragic beyond everything else. But it's also one of those things where it's like, I think you said it too, is like, thank God there was only one of them.
Right. That we know of.
Well, that was activated.
Right. Just, it brings the horror of what Anna did to the forefront.
Yes. And
which
I
I
think
think is the purpose of why we see that is Anna was not a good person in respects to the science that she pushed forward and helped create.
No. I would think, I think this is the, it's not necessarily the humanization, it's the demonization of the Brays even more so. It's like, you know, this is yet again, this family is, yeah, Black Flag. Of course not. She's a Bray. Yeah, I mean, that in and of itself hits the nail, like, on the head. Like, I think, but a lot of people have this idea that Anna was, you know, like a good Bray, and it's like, again,
the thing is that we know Anna as the Guardian. We don't know Anna as the scientist, right? Like, we never knew that Anna. And that's one of the things about being a Guardian that's so nice, is that you don't have that past to follow you. That's something we've talked about a lot, is that Anna is one of those rare cases where she actually has a key to her past. And in this way, she's finding out that she was not a good person in respects of like dealing with other humans. She helped establish this program, this protocol, and even though it was never intended to get to this point with this echo, she's
responsible for it.
She is. She's absolutely responsible for it.
The other thing that stands out to me is like she was like, why would they do that to Rasputin, blah blah blah. And the thing that you have to remember is it's not just they. She was part of the contingency plan for Rasputin. Like, the whole thing about, you know, the segregation, the pillory protocol, the red line protocol, that was her work as well.
She would have known about it because she has access to all of it.
And so
she was like, one of the wardens.
Yeah. And I mean, and again, it's like, now, do we know the full picture of what they were facing? No, but you see what she is willing to do in the name of, of making sure that humanity survives. Which, I mean, yeah, it's I don't know. Like the question is, like, if you're talking about the survival of an entire species, what is good? Good. I mean, it starts kind of sliding the scale a little bit, but at the same time, also there are some things that I would argue are non-negotiable. And it seems like Anna the Guardian has the similar thought. Is like there are some things that just are not okay to do, and apparently Anna the scientist did not agree with that, which I find also very interesting too.
Yeah. It is interesting. It is interesting to see it brought forward in a different way like this.
Mm-hmm. I like it. I like how, again, like what you were saying with the highlighting of the fact that the Guardians, they're blank slates. Like they legitimately, you get a second chance.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really cool. This is a really well done demonstration of exactly that that situation.
Yep. All right. One final section. One final bit. You ready?
Yes.
Anna stares at an echo's husk. The faint glow at the desk-lit console screen grays out her face behind her visor. She sits, dead still in rotation. She could stare forever if she only had enough time. Jinju nudges her shoulder. I've got the mainframe data. Anna is devoid of thought at the mainframe access console. She watches as Uranus comes back into view over and over again. It dominates the station's viewing port. She maps the movement of the clouds along the surface, but only ever on the surface, and sees how they differ from the previous iteration on their last spin. She wonders if they are different underneath. Stable major chords strum in Anna's helmet, getting caught in the cracked visor glass. She finally speaks, decisive. Dislodge the other ringlet paddocks. Warsats can tow them back to the tower. Skim the shadow networks for anything else they can use. Get some good from this. Anna, the Warsats can haul this whole station as long as we do it soon. Callus rotates into shadow once again, and the planet's sheen fades from sight. Anna clicks a spring-loaded slot on the desk. It snaps to, bearing a placard of ownership. Clovis Bray. Anna stands, steady. It's okay to let some things be forgotten.
I like that ending.
It's a total difference in character from her. That's out of character from what her normal stance is.
Well, but I think that's why I like it, is because I think in a way this is I don't think this is necessarily the lesson that Zavala was trying to teach.
Oh
But
no.
I think that in a way she is coming to agree with, Zavala's view of letting the past stay in the past.
Yeah. It's interesting how she wants to tow the rings from Uranus, back to the tower for research purposes. And I'm sitting here thinking, you just barely survived an attack.
The rings have the biomes. Those are the biomes.
Right. But there's no.
I thought I took it as the echoes were stored on the spine, the spire.
Right. I just don't know what they're going to be bringing back,
Oh, yeah. I get you.
It's not necessarily that they're going to bring back echoes.
God, that would be terrifying.
Yeah. I mean, theoretically they could pull that too, because they could have a section of that brought back as well. But good lord, just at least she's introspective. Like she's contemplating
growing.
everything that just she had a near death experience. Ironically, for a guardian, that is very rare.
Right.
To have something that actually means death like that. And so one tiny thing pulled from this as far as like an explanation, major chords are used as far as music goes. We were talking about synesthesia. Major chords are used as a way to establish a solid structure. So Rasputin is trying to reassure her there. There's not really there's not really an explanation of what he's trying to do, but as far as like a musical reference, that's what it sounds like he's attempting to do, is
like
to give her structure
shoulder
again. Yeah. Give her
support.
Not necessarily hope, but it's just, this is an established thing. This is a happy sounding thing. Like it's not like he's playing a Sousa march in her ear or anything like that. It's more
right, but it's him being like, you'll be okay, basically.
Yeah, exactly. But that, I mean, these cards, and they're not even cards, these entries have like so much in them, and it's its own little pocket story. It could be its own little book, even. Lots of info here, and lots of just fun story. It's a fun read. Do you have any final thoughts on this guy, Jay?
No, I mean it's I mean the questions that I have here are like obviously the implications of Rasputin as a rogue mind, then also the 13th Clovis facility. We never really got this answer to that. Excuse me. And then obviously, what is this going to mean in the future with the development of what happened to Rasputin with
recently
Season of Arrivals, with him being shelved into an engram with an experimental echo body.
Well, okay, there's no experimental exo body yet, but there's
they had it. That was part of the sunsetting book.
Oh, I haven't read that part of the book yet. I'm catching up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so they, at the end, they're flying off Mars, basically, with the engram, and then they have an exo frame in the ship.
Okay. I was curious whether or not they would make Site 13 be the location that Rasputin would be integrated in. Right. I wondered if they were going to go that route, but sounds like they're not.
Well, I'm curious where Site, because it sounds like all the 12 sites are throughout the system. So, I mean, Site 13 could be, I mean, I don't know. This is all like, theory crafting future, trying to tell the future. But like there's now, with these entries in particular, there is now quite a bit of options to take as far as fixing the Rasputin situation.
Yeah. I think this is definitely the prelude to make the Rasputin situation not seem so dire.
Yes.
Knowing that they had that contingency in place.
I think that they can bootstrap onto that contingency and fix the problem.
Yep. Cool. All right. You want to do final shout-outs for this week?
I will do, yes. I think final shout-outs is a good place to end.
Cool.
You want to lead the charge there?
Sure. My shout out is actually more of a shameless plug. Hopefully, by the time this episode airs, there will be some new podcasts for you guys to grasp onto. I have been working on a side project that I am lovingly calling Destiny Audiophile, which is a audiobook form of the lore books. The first book to be released is a re-recording I've done of the Maracina, followed shortly after by The Awoken of the Reef, and after that, I don't know yet. I just finished the recording for Maracina today, and I have the first 3 episodes already made. I'll have the 4th one going out, or ready to go out soon. I just need to finish some music editing on that. And then just put a call out to the community. If you ever have wanted to do like an audiobook format of things, or you like recording audiobooks and you want to kind of get involved with that, please let me know, because there are a lot more books that I am capable of recording in a reasonable amount of time, as well as there are a lot more talented people at voice acting than me. And if you would like to get involved, please reach out. You can reach me on Twitter is probably the easiest place. Let me know, and I can get you hooked up with what we're planning on doing and formatting and stuff like that. And yeah, we'll create an audiobook form of the lore, which is what I'm hoping to do, is just to get a whole catalog going. So that is my shout out. Blue, do you have any shout outs?
No, just as always, be sure to give support over to everyone that we have listed on the Lore Network. We have a number of great content creators over there. And a big congratulations. I think it was Kaz actually got 500 subscribers, which is a huge thing.
Nice.
It's a big hurdle to get over. So big shout out to him for all the hard work on that. But I know that we are doing the weekly lore roundup for the podcast and for the YouTube content. So if you guys want, I would strongly say, you can subscribe to the Lore Network's postings, and that would be a good way to kind of make sure you don't miss anything from the content creators that we have teamed up over there with us. If there is someone that that is a content creator with lore, it does not have to be just Destiny. It could be anything. Definitely give us a heads up. We will reach out to them and talk to them about getting set up with us, and then we can just all kind of. It just makes finding everything a lot easier in the long run, which I don't think anyone's complaining about that. So. But yeah, and then as always, until next time, thank you for your time. Stand strong, or with wisdom we conquer. Stand strong, stand tall, and keep exploring.
Bye.
I'm getting shot by taken hobgoblins.
You sound tired.
I am a little tired. I'm just between
I
driving.
mean, it's not like you. Yeah, it's not like you drove forever.
Yeah, it was a bit of a drive.
Night, Parable.
Hi, Parable.
Yeah.
Oh,
Reach out to me on Discord or Twitter if you can, if you wanted to help with that. Ay. All right, I'm going to go to the restroom real quick, and then I'll get you the file.
Cool.
Thank you, hon.
Need to set a folder up, but I will do that as soon as I get to a resting spot here.
Yeah, you're almost done with the strike.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't decide to bug out. This is usually the part where it decides to glitch. Oh, nope, it looks like we're going to get it.
Weird.
Yeah, this strike has a tendency, to this segment right here, for some reason, it will be fine. It will be fine. Then we get down here, run through here, and it won't let us continue. Now, usually it also won't spawn the enemies in that last section, so I think we're okay.
Do you have instances where you lose a team member there? Because it will not let you go forward if it's still loading in a member.
I don't know. I've had instances where all 3 of us are sitting down there, and it's like eventually we lose a team member because they just leave.
That's weird.
But yeah, this is one of the worst strikes for me at least, as far as glitching out. Oh, hello.
Okay. I'll be right back.
Okay, cool. Oh. All right, guys. Well, thank you for putting up with our shenanigans as always. And until next week, we will catch you later.